Am I really that useless? My wolf Aviana said. Yes, we are. She whimpered at the sight of the blade on the floor as I reached for it. Is this really necessary? She asked with hesitation as I brought the sharp object to my wrist. She didn't want me to inflict a wound. Yes. It helps with all our pain, I said, and I murmured every word everyone had ever said to me: worthless, pathetic, murderer, useless, stupid, fat, whore. Maybe I should explain who I am before I go more into detail. I'm Christina Rosewood. Of the Rosewood pack. I'm 16. I have long black hair flowing down my back and a small petite figure. I am the girl who is considered to be pathetic and am mostly ignored by the whole pack. I was cut off with the words that I dreaded hearing every day. Christina. Where the heck is my food? That was my father. Alpha Trent. I winced at even mention of his name. He hated me because he blamed me for my mother's death. The only reason he kept me around was because my mother had requested him to take care of me if anything happened. Also the fact that I was a spitting image of her. Except one thing fueled his anger towards me. The one thing that differentiated me was the markings on my left arm, which I was told by him to never let anyone see. Ever. The reason why? I still asked myself every day. I quickly cleaned up the blood and wrapped up my arm, then scrambled upstairs. You might ask yourself. Why up the stairs? Oh. I slept in the basement with a hard bed. The small basement had a little window through which I was able to see the night sky. The other thing it had was a small bathroom. I whimpered at the sight of him. You see, my father is a very powerful wolf, and you can feel the power radiating off of him. As he towered over me. Why hasn't my food been made? He asked in an aggravated tone, with not one bit of emotion on his face. Overslept. I'm sorry. I said in a small voice. I felt a sting across my face when he slapped me. Stop stuttering. You worthless girl. Go make my breakfast. Then go to school. He said coldly. Walking to the living room. I then slowly walked into the kitchen. Hi Chrissy. Whispered my one and only friend here, Leslie, as she poured herself something to drink. Leslie. I said back. Leslie was one of the very few people who were nice to me in the pack. I would feel sad for her because she couldn't bear to see me getting hurt. So whenever it happened, she would dash out of the pack house and go for a run. Because she couldn't do anything about it. Leslie was a small, short girl with glasses and short light brown hair. And her wolf, Mara, was just as beautiful. It was small with light brown fur. When I was done making my father's breakfast, I gave Leslie a small wave and gave him his food, then went to go get dressed for school. I looked just as I was treated. Like a slave. All my clothes were worn out. Torn. Old and dirty. I put on a worn-out gray shirt with a small hole at the bottom and a pair of blue jeans that had a mysterious stain on it. I wore my worn-out Converses. Let's go to school. Our personal hell. Aviana said. I nodded in agreement and let out a big sigh as I walked out of the door. As I walk into hell, I remember the 2 rules I taught myself to at least try to stay unseen. 1. Keep your head down. R. Hold your stuff close to you. When I put my plan into full action walking in, I could already hear the occasional laughter and whispers. Aviana suddenly perked up and said. Do you smell that? She sniffed the air, and started wagging her tail happily. Yeah, it's probably us. I said back, keeping my head down. Until my nose got slapped with the scent of pine trees and axe. It could be our mate. The one who is supposed to love us no matter what. Follow the scent. She barked up, more excited as I began to follow the strong scent. What if he rejects us? I don't think we can handle any more disappointment in our lives. I tried telling her as I bumped into someone and fell on my butt. I tried to grab the nearest thing closest to me to hoist myself up until the person grabbed my hand, and I instantly felt tingles erupt my whole body. Mate! Mate! Aviana screamed. I looked up to see the one and only Ryan Scott. The hottest boy in school. He can get any girl he wanted even though he has a girlfriend who is rude. Mate! I whispered. A crowd had already formed. Due to the fact I bumped into the Ryan Scott and he's one of the main people who bully me. I was so happy that I found my mate. I knew because I felt the sparks and I knew he felt it too. But before I said anything he laughed. He just laughed. Why is he laughing? Then what he said next made me not want to even live anymore. Let's just get this over with. I Ryan Scott reject. Christina Rosewood as my sorry excuse for a mate. He said with a smirk. But I was soon cut off by his rude girlfriend Veronica. What, you thought someone would want a weak mate like you? She then scoffed and started laughing. You haven't even shifted yet. I bet your wolf is ugly. Aviana growled at that. I ran through the crowd of laughter with tears down my face and out the school and did something I never thought I would do ever. I shifted and ran through the forest. This is the first time I've ever seen my wolf. Besides, when I first shifted, but I barely remembered what she looked like because I was young, and as soon as the painful experience was over I passed out. Then, that's when I was told to never shift ever and to not let anyone see my markings. Which I still don't know why. I stop and sit on my hind legs and admire Aviana's beautiful white fur. I looked at her side and seen that my markings had turned into a beautiful pattern of flowers along her fur. See, we are not ugly, Aviana said, whimpering. Realizing now that even our mate rejected us. Who would want us now? As I lay in the forest grass with Aviana sulking and whimpering for our ex-mate, I just get deeper and deeper into depression. My thoughts were suddenly cut off with my dad screaming at me through Mind Link. Christina, get your butt home now. Shoot. I almost forgot to make his dinner. I've been here so long I lost track of time. If I walk or wait for the bus it will just take longer. So, still in wolf form, I run home, feeling the breeze in my fur. Feeling free for once. I stop at my house and go behind a tree to change, then slowly walk inside, cringing at the sound of the creaking door. Then, I met face to face with him. Why the heck did the school call and say you left? And then Alpha Blake called and said, you lied to his son about being his mate. Aviana whimpered at the sound of his voice. Don't whimper. Answer me. Wait, lied. He is my real, well, ex-mate, but I sure didn't lie. I needed some fresh air, and fell asleep outside. I'm sorry. He pinched the bridge of his nose and sighed. And what about the mate thing? The mate thing, Christina, what about that? Sounding annoyed. Before I could say anything, he answered for me. Is it because you liked the boy? Is that it? I understand you like him, but you can't do that now. I bet you're wondering why he isn't hitting or slapping me right now. Well, he actually used to be a great dad until I turned 10. Then he realized how I was beginning to look more and more like my mom, then started blaming me for my mom's death. Or sometimes he got his own problems going on or is too tired to do so. I was about to explain when he got a call. All I heard were a bunch of yup. Of course, then I heard. We'll be there. And I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. Then he hung up. Wait. Where will we be going when I'm not even allowed to go outside? Go get a dress from one of the pack moms and tell them I said make you look presentable. He said. For what? What am I getting dressed up for? And he said a dress from the moms because I'm not so much of a skinny wolf like Leslie, but I'm not big either. I just have grown woman curves. Alpha Blake has invited us to his son Ryan's wedding. Because Ryan said he found his true mate. So his father believes once he finds his true mate he is to be wed. His son and him will also be expecting an apology tomorrow for your little incident. As soon as he said that, it felt like my whole world just crashed around me. Why would he say I lied? Is he really going to marry someone who's not his mate? And to top it all off, I would have to sit and watch as if nothing was going on. I was in shock. I was at a loss for words. All I did was nod and go to one of the pack mothers and told her that he said make me look presentable for the occasion. I wasn't upset because only a few, or at least like 3 people in the pack, were actually nice to me. Leslie and her mom Linda and her little sister Katie. Honey, I'm so sorry you have to go through this. If there's anything I can do to make you feel better, just tell me. Linda said, trying to make me feel better. It's okay, Linda. I wasn't what he wanted, so he rejected me. Just another disappointment to add to my long list, I said, letting out a big sigh. Then a small drop of blood came from my arm and dripped on the floor. Shoot, I forgot to change my gauze. Chrissy, you promised you would stop doing that, she said, letting tears fall from her eyes and also mine while she hugged me tightly. I'm sorry. It just hurts so bad and I feel numb, and I know no one would care if I'm gone anyway, I said, stifling through my tears. She cupped my face with her hands. Baby, you're wrong. I would care. Leslie will care. You're her only other friend here. And Katie loves you dearly, she said as she used her thumb to slightly rub away a stray tear. Promise me you will stop. Can you do that? For me, she said with a pleading look in her eyes. I'll try, I said in a whisper tone. Okay. Now, stop all that crying, so I can make you look more beautiful than you already are, she said as she began to do my makeup and hair. When she was done, I started to cry again. I couldn't even recognize myself. Who is that? I said, shaking my head in disbelief that this was me. That's you, Chrissy, she said, wiping away her own tears. You look beautiful. Now, stop crying before you mess up your makeup along with mine, she said with small smile. When I looked in the mirror one last time, I saw a whole new me. Instead of my long black dirty hair, it was now washed, curled and smelled like vanilla. Also, my face didn't look dirty anymore. I had eyeliner and blush with a small touch of pink lipstick. Here, put this on, she said as she lightly shoved me in the bathroom with a dress while she got the others ready. It was a white dress that came up to about mid-thigh high with a lace pattern on top with white roses on it that hugged me ever so slightly. And then she opened the door slightly and put her arm through, and placed down some small white flats. I had also brought a small thin white sweater because I had to cover up my markings. When I stepped out, I saw Leslie and Katie getting ready, and as soon as Leslie saw me, her jaw dropped. Chrissy, you look gorgeous, she said as she ran and hugged me tight. You look pretty, Chrissy, Katie tried to say. Thank you. And Katie, you look very pretty also, she giggled as her small cheeks turned a slight shade of pink. As I walked downstairs, I heard a whole bunch of gasps, and then saw my father in a dark gray suit turn around in shock as well. Chrissy, I was wide-eyed for a second. This is the first time in a long while he's called me by my nickname. I smiled and slightly nodded. You look so much like your mother, he said with tears in his eyes as he ran to me and took me in a bear hug, and for the first time I hugged back. At the wedding I felt mostly stares and heard whispers. The usual, I thought with a sigh. The wedding had to be the worst experience in my life. So here I am at the reception, just moping and sitting in the corner, waiting for Alpha Blake to come. As soon as he came in, the smell of pine trees and axe filled my nose again. And right behind him trailed my ex-mate and his wife Victoria. Yup. Victoria. They lied and said that she was his true mate, and I was obsessed with him. That's why I lied. He asked one of the bridesmaids where I was, and she pointed to where I was sitting. They walked over to me and my father came also. Hello, Christina, your father tells me you have something to tell me and my son. And now more importantly his wife. He said, introducing them as he spoke. It took all my strength not to cry while talking. I let out a sigh. Yes. Alpha Blake. Ryan and Victoria. I apologize for my sudden outburst which caused such a commotion with the lie that I told. Also, Victoria, you look very beautiful today. It was true she was beautiful. But it was just her personality and things she did that made her unpleasant. She smirked and looked at me while Ryan was trying not to pay attention. Flattery will get you nowhere in life. And it's Luna to you. I really wanted to slap her. It's quite alright, child. You will find your mate one day. He said, patting my shoulder before turning to the crowd and screaming. Alright, now it is time for the bride and groom to dance. Everyone went to their seats and watched as the two danced in the center of the room. But the part that tore me up the most was when they sealed the dance with a kiss. I just got up and walked out, then ran into the forest and shifted. I just kept running and running till I got to the pack house. This is it, I can't take it anymore. I'm leaving. I ran to Linda and Leslie's room and left them a note. Dear Linda and Leslie, or whoever reads this. I can't live with the pain and sadness that those around me have caused. Constantly coping with distress, and telling my wolf which I am not allowed to shift into or see that it will be alright, but it just keeps getting worse. Linda, you're like my second mother. I love you and you got me through all the tough times and made me feel good about myself even when I'm feeling the worst. You healed my wounds when my father broke me down. You made me feel loved when I thought no one ever did. I'm sorry for leaving, but just know I love you. Leslie, you're my best friend. You're like the sister I never had and I love you for that. I'm sorry for leaving you with all those cruel people, but maybe things will change since I'm gone. My father will have no reason to be upset since I'm no longer there. I love your smile. And the way you pick me up when I'm down. I always felt bad when you had to leave when I was getting hit, but who knew you were the one feeling sad for me. I love you and I hope that you find your mate soon. Ryan, I hope you're happy you don't have to live with your sorry excuse for a mate anymore. I can't believe you would stoop so low as to lie about me being your mate then reject me in front of everyone. Do you know how embarrassing that was? It's bad enough I get bullied at school then abused at home. What more do you want from me? Then to top it off you married someone else, and then invited me to watch, and I had to apologize for no reason when I did nothing. I hope you know I love and hate you. Bye. Dad, I'm so sorry I left, but you were my best friend until I started to look more and more like Mom, then you became cold and distant, then the abuse began. I thought you loved me. And if you loved Mom so much, why would you hit someone who looks just like her? It's just like you actually hitting her. I still am yet to find out why I have these markings and why I'm not allowed to shift. But I will always love you. Sorry for looking so much like my mother and causing you so much pain. Sincerely. Chrissy or Christina or Slave. I put the note on Linda's bed. Jumped out the window. Shifting in mid-air. Running back through the forest in a different direction, hoping to make a better life for myself. I kept running till my legs were tired and I couldn't run anymore. I stopped and looked around and seen a small town just up ahead. I kept running until I heard a bunch of growls around me. I stopped. I was surrounded by 6 huge wolves, but they stopped once they got a good look at me and bowed their heads. Why are they doing this? Then one went behind the tree and shifted and came back with shorts on. Can you please shift so we can ask you why you are on my territory? I nodded and went behind the tree, and put the dress back on and came back out. They all gasped. I looked around then felt a breeze on my arms. Wait, my arms. Oh no, my sweater. I must have left it. He stepped forward and I couldn't help but stare, then looked down when he noticed I was looking but kept walking towards me, and I kept taking a step back as he took one forward until I was up against a tree. He moved my hair away from my shoulder. I guessed to see my markings, then he gasped. State your reason for crossing Dark Moon territory. I ran away from my pack because they were cruel, abusive, and then my mate rejected me, then got married to someone else, so I left. I said with tears running down my face. He growled and pulled me into a tight hug saying, "Mine." Linda's perspective. I was on my way upstairs along with the other pack members after the long reception, but after I saw Alpha Blake talking to Christina, she disappeared. I walked into my room and almost broke down when I read the note left in my bed. I sat in the corner crying my eyes out reading the letter over and over until Leslie came in. "Ma, what's wrong?" she asked as I handed her the note. She read it, then got wide-eyed and stormed out the room. Leslie's perspective. I saw Alpha Trent then attacked him. Alpha or not, this was his fault. I kept punching and punching him, screaming, "You bastard. This is your fault," with tears in my eyes until I was pulled off by two betas. "What the heck is your problem, Leslie?" he shouted in his alpha tone, but I'm not backing down. You're my problem. She's gone. She's gone because of you and her stupid mate, I said, trying to get out of their grip. "What on earth are you talking about? Who's gone?" he asked, still angry but slightly confused. "Christina, because of all your abuse and her sorry excuse for a mate, Ryan. Do you know right after you're done abusing her she gets bullied at school?" "Haha," I screamed, breaking from their grasp. "I didn't," he tried to continue, but I cut him off. "Me and my mom had to stop her from harming herself twice, and now she gone." I ripped out of their grips, threw the letter at him and ran upstairs and slammed the door. But before I got upstairs, I saw him read the letter and drop to his knees. The man growled and pulled me into a tight hug, then said something that shocked me. Mine. What? He just stared. Then a girl came up to him and tapped his shoulder. She had a recognizable hairstyle, though I don't really know their names since I have no access to internet, TVs, or phone. I just remember watching that movie with Leslie one time. She has little rainbow streaks mixed in her braids and had a sports bra and basketball shorts on since she just shifted to human form. "What's a Kia?" he said, aggravated. "Adrian, calm down, you're scaring her. Let's take her to Alpha John, he'll know what to do." He shook his head and sighed, then stuck out his hand and I slowly but hesitantly grabbed it, then instantly felt sparks. "Sparks, wait, I can have another mate, if the first one rejects me." Since the pack house was not far, we walked, but every time I glanced at him he looked down at me with a smirk, then I would blush and look down. When we arrived, I received a large amount of gasps, and everyone kept bowing. "What is going on?" Adrian knocked on the door and a stern voice said, "Come in." Then Adrian spoke. "Alpha John, we found her trespassing on the borderline. But she just so happens to be my mate with markings on her left arm." "What do they mean?" He raised an eyebrow, then stood up. "Come child, let me see your arm." I pushed my hair back and stuck out my arm. He gasped and said, "This is not possible. The only person who can have these markings is second in line to be Moon Goddess." "Who is your mother?" "Sarah Rosewood." He looked at my arm some more, then saw my scars. "Who did this to you?" he said, looking enraged. "I did, sir. I caused these injuries myself," I said, letting a stray tear fall. He wiped it away and said, "Why?" "Because my pack abused me. My father mostly for looking like my mother and blaming me for the cause of her death." I took a deep breath, sighed and spoke again. "Then my mate rejected me and said I lied about being his mate and married someone else and made me watch. Then I had to apologize for lying to him and his father." Adrian growled and wrapped his arms around my waist and rested his head on my shoulder. Aviana suddenly perked up, just like when we found Ryan. I whispered, "Mate." Yes, I'm your mate," he said, hugging me tighter. "But how? And what's this about Moon Goddess?" I asked, confused. Alpha John walked to the door, opened it and screamed, "Monica, can you come here please?" Then came in a beautiful woman with long brown hair, glasses and small freckles you only really see if you came close to her. This is my mate and Luna Monica. Monica, can you explain the moon goddess to her? It seems she's our son's mate and next in line for moon goddess. You can tell by her markings, he said as he pointed to me. She then walked to me, examined my arm and told me to sit on the small couch next to her. I sat next to her with Adrian right next to me. I could tell he is a possessive person. I let out a small yelp as he picked me up and put me on his lap, then scooted close to his mother. Now, let me explain, she began. The moon goddess is the source of all wolves and controls all fate. Meaning your mother. I nodded, signaling her to continue. Since you are the offspring of the moon goddess, you will have these markings and they will change in the 4 stages of the transformation. Have they looked different recently? She questioned. I nodded and said, when I was rejected, I ran into the woods and shifted for the first time in a long time and they formed into a flower pattern across my fur. I see. You just went through the 2nd stage. The last 2 stages will begin when you start the mating process, which makes you and your mate stronger and your wolves bigger. I furrowed my eyebrows in confusion. Oh. The mating process is when you and your mate become one. Meaning physical union. My eyes grew wide, and then I looked down, and blushed as she continued. But first my son has to mark you and you will go through the heat for a while, then you can mate. Well, if you can make it that long. She trailed off with a small chuckle, with me still not understanding. Then Alpha John engulfed her in a hug and spoke after kissing her cheek. You see, dear. The heat is when your scent becomes very strong, and your sexual urges begin to grow along with your mates and other unmated wolves. But my son has not marked you yet, and it only lasts for a few days, so you don't have to worry for a while. And once he marks you, your thoughts, emotions, pain and everything else will be shared. Just then, I felt a rush of pain hit my body and I fell to the floor whimpering in pain. Dad, Mom, what's wrong with her? Adrian shouted as he hugged me to his chest. Her mate has mated with someone else without completing the rejection process. Honey, did you accept his rejection or just leave? John spoke and then was smacked on the back of the head by Monica. Ow, what was that for? He said, rubbing his head. Why would she sit there and just accept her rejection like that? She asked with a raised eyebrow while crossing her arms. You're right, my apologies. The pain will pass once they are finished, he said, kneeling down, rubbing my head, trying to soothe the pain. Alpha Trent's perspective. It's all my fault. What have I done? I thought as I sat there on the floor. Then I thought, what would Sarah think of what I've been doing in her absence? I just got up and stormed out and shifted to my big black wolf Trayvon and ran angrily to Alpha Blake's territory. I shifted, and only had my suit pants on and angrily banged on the door. Blake appeared with a smile on his face. Trent. Nice of you to stop by. What seems to be the problem? I pushed him out of the way and started looking around screaming. Where is he? Where is who? Who are you looking for? He asked, furrowing his eyebrows. Your son. Where is he? I screamed. Calm down, my son is in his room with his wife. I ran upstairs before he could finish his sentence and heard sounds indicating private activities coming from the first room I saw and tried to open it, but it was locked. I suddenly became irritated and started banging on the door, becoming more and more enraged with every bang. Suddenly the sounds stopped, and I heard a groaning, then footsteps towards the door. Then Ryan appeared at the door, only in his boxers, with his wife trying to hide herself in the covers. Yes, he said with a bored expression on his face and a raised eyebrow. I then slammed him against the wall, saying, This is all your fault. Trent's perspective. He looked in pure shock as I held him against the wall by his shirt. What are you talking about? What did I do? He exclaimed. So my daughter is a sorry excuse for a mate, haha. I punched him in the stomach and he fell to the ground. I know this is my fault. She is gone, but it's also his too. I kind of felt like I was starting to connect with my daughter again like old times. Then he made her leave because he thought she wasn't good enough for him. Then, to top it all off, he was with someone else who he married, and she had to sit there and watch. She must be in so much pain. I kicked him in the stomach and then Blake came in screaming, "What are you doing to my son?" "Well, your precious son was actually the one lying, not my daughter. He rejected her, then married this girl, and my daughter had to sit there and watch, then had to apologize for no reason," I yelled back. "Is this true?" he said, looking at him pleading to say it wasn't. He didn't say anything. "You better tell him the truth. Or so help me God IW, then he cut me off screaming. "Yes," then he paused. "Yes. It's true, I rejected her to fit in. Then lied and married Victoria and marked her." He trailed off at the last part. What do you know what you have done? You have messed with nature, now you have to live with this person forever, and hopefully the moon goddess gives Christina another mate unless she will die of heartbreak." He sighed and shook his head, letting a tear fall. "Just like I did with your mother." He then walked out, leaving me and his son alone again. He was still on the floor, so I kicked him one more good time, knocking the air out of him and saying, "I hope you rot in heck, you sick person." Then walked out. I really hope Chrissy is okay. Christina's perspective. Surprisingly, it only lasted for about 10 minutes and then just randomly stopped. I wonder why. I thought as I stand in our room. I lift up my shirt and see the bruises are gone, then look at the cuts on my wrists and they are slowly fading away. Then the voices that made me harm myself came back to haunt me. Worthless, pathetic murderer. Useless, stupid fat whore. I just lost it and burst into tears, sitting on the floor crying. Then I got up and walked into the bathroom and saw one of Adrian's razors and broke it, taking the blade out. "No. Not again, Chrissy." Aviana growled a bit. I ignored her. I was about to put the blade to my wrist when Adrian walked in and screamed "No." He then snatched the blade out of my hand and threw it across the room. He had tears in his eyes as he held me, rocking back and forth on the ground. "Why?" he said while his voice sounding cracked as he spoke. "It helps with the pain. The awful pain." "Why, Adrian? Why do you still choose to love me? Even without the mate bond, would you still like me? I'm just a worthless, pathetic, fat whore." He then cut me off screaming, "Enough, I will not sit here and listen to you talk about yourself like that. Come with me." He then stood up, grabbed my hand and led me to a door that said, "For Chrissy" on it. I opened it to see a room full of different beautiful mirrors. I walked around for a second in awe until Adrian snaked his arms around my waist and rested his head on my neck. He then kissed my neck and said, "After hearing your story on how you have been treated, I felt heartbroken on why would someone do such a thing to my beautiful mate." I stopped him there. "I'm not beautiful. I'm ugly. And fat and probably won't even make a good Luna." He sighed then smiled, pulling me more into him. "Stop talking like that. You are not ugly. You are beautiful. You would make an excellent Luna and the pack will love you just as much as I do. And even if you were larger, that would be just more of you to love." Aviana purred at his words. I felt safe with him. Like nothing could break us. I love him and he loves me, and I don't want anything to tear that apart. "Come on, Adrian, you know you want me," my old fling would say, because she was always in the mood even when I'm not. I know what you're thinking. What? Adrian had a girlfriend and didn't wait for his mate. Well, no and yes. Yes. Because I did have a girlfriend before my mate. And no. Only because I gave into peer pressure and seduction like. When are you going to get your mate? I bet you'll never find her. How will you take over without a queen? When are you going to get intimacy? Honestly, I didn't want to go on without my mate, but on the other hand, I thought I would never find her. Then I soon fell into depression from me and my wolf Thomas yearning the touch or even a sense of our mate. Soon She came and physical intimacy with her was the only outlet or release I had. But soon as I found my mate I cut all that off and she didn't quite take it well. She was a gold-digging person. And all she wanted was to be Luna and control everyone. Present soon I met my beautiful mate Christina and everything I did or will do is to please her. She is so sweet and innocent. And I will destroy anyone who even looks at her wrong. Possessive. I know, right, but I can't help it. I'm soon to be alpha. And who wouldn't want to protect her with her long soft black hair? Big brown eyes and soothing nature. I would do anything for her. I can't wait to have pups with her. Maybe just 1 or 2. However much she wants. I hope she will stop putting herself down like that. It tears me apart to see her cry like that, knowing that I wasn't there to protect her. If I ever see that son of a person, ex-mate of hers, I will punch him so hard. But let's not worry about that right now. My baby has to get ready for her coronation ceremony to become Luna Christina. We have to get ready. Everyone is waiting. Aviana said, very excited. Ever since she heard about the coronation ceremony she's been all perky and excited lately. Okay, we have to wait until Adrian's helpers come and help us get ready. Calm down, I told her. Then there was a knock at the door and 2 twin girls around my age came in. One had a red streak in her hair and the other had blonde. Hi, Luna, we are here to do your hair, the red one said. And makeup, the other one said. Girls, I'm not Luna yet, and if I was, I would like for you to call me Christina or Chrissy. Luna sounds too stuck up. I smiled at them. They smiled back and in sync they said okay. Then, let's get started. Once they were done my hair was in long, loose curls and I had light makeup with a little blush and lip gloss. I had on a loose white mid-thigh dress on with a medium trail on the back. Looks like our work here is done, the blonde one said. Yeah. Come on, let's go, the other one continued as they dragged me out the door. The twins pulled me towards the backyard door, then stopped. The red one said, hold on. I forgot something. But I stopped her right there. Wait. What are your names? I asked in confusion. I'm Ashley, the blonde one said, pointing to herself. And I'm Allie, the red one said. I nodded then said okay. Got Ashley and Ally, I said, pointing to each as I said their names. Here. I forgot this, Allie said, placing a crown made of white daisies on my head. I walked out and everything was beautiful. There was a white rug with rose petals for me to walk down. And lights lit up the sky as they were crossed above me in different patterns. It was beautiful. I saw Adrian there looking beyond attractive. Whoa. Where did that come from? Who knew I had such a positive mind? I did, Aviana said with a smirk. I mentally laughed at her, and kept walking. I made it to the top to see Alpha John. You look beautiful. Are you ready? I nodded and he began, raise your right hand. I did as I was told. Do you, Christina Rosewood? Promise to love, cherish and stand by your pack alongside your mate as long as you both shall live. I do. Do you, Adrian Darkmoon? Promise to love, cherish and stand by your pack alongside your mate as long as you both shall live, he asked Adrian. I do, he answered. Now Christina, close your eyes and try to focus. The whole pack will be connected with you in just a moment, and there might be a little pressure on you. Just breathe in and out. I started taking deep breaths. In. Out. In. Out. I screamed as it felt like my head was pounding. Just calm down and breathe, he said, while Adrian rubbed my back for support. I can't, it hurts too much. Then I fainted and everything went black. Adrian, I scooped up Christina in my arms still on the ground, then looked up at my father. Will she be all right? I asked. The whole crowd was standing up and some whimpered thinking they hurt their Luna. Yeah. She'll be fine. Her body is just a little used up and tired. He reassured me. Luna, a little boy shouts running towards us. I had recognized him. His name was Billy. He was one of the pack children I play with outside sometimes. Only about 2 or 3. But otherwise very smart. I hurt Luna, he asked with tears in his eyes. No, little man. Your Luna is just very tired. She's okay. A smile appeared on his face. Promise, he said, sniffling through his tears. I promise. I said, nodding to him. Okay. He said, walking back to his mother. I stood up with Chrissy still in my arms and looked around. The crowd still seemed worried. Everyone settled down. She's fine. You didn't hurt your Luna. She's just a little overworked and tired. I reassure you all she will be up and well by morning. They seemed to calm down a bit. I walked out the room with Chrissy to take her to bed. Serves that pathetic person right, I should be Luna, not her. She wouldn't know what to do with that power if it hit her in the face. Mate or not, I will be Luna. Christina, I woke up and looked around to see Adrian not there, and frowned a bit. Missing my mate. I looked on my nightstand to check the time and saw a note. Dear Chrissy Poo. I know you might be a little upset that I'm not there. Quite frankly, I wish I was there too, but sadly I had pack business to attend to and couldn't be there. When you go to do your daily morning routine, don't be surprised at what you see. Since you have become Luna and are the offspring of the moon goddess, your appearance has slightly changed. Both yours and my wolf have become stronger and you have a mind-link connection to the whole pack. It's like you know everyone's name and have them on speed dial. I don't know what's going to happen personality-wise, but I will love you no matter what change. If you need me, I'll be in my office. Love. Adrian. I smiled at the note but also thought. New appearance, would I be ugly? I got up to go, take a shower, running my hand through my tangled hair. Looked in the mirror with wide eyes and shock. I stepped back at first, touching my face while staring at the mirror. Then, while holding my face, I was moving around to see if it was real or not, and it was. My face was more toned and flawless. My skin looked permanently tanned, and my body seemed slim. After a quick shower, I got dressed feeling more confident in myself than ever before. I walked into my new walk-in closet Adrian had personally got made for me. Already stocked with a bunch of clothes. I picked out a small tan sweater, and some shorts with little tiny beads on the side with some new black Converse sneakers. I walked down the hall and heard small gasps and nice greetings, and saw positive stares from the young boys, but I shook it off as I walked in the kitchen and grabbed a green apple. I had my eyes closed enjoying the sweet yet sour apple when I was approached by one of the positive teens around my age. He had shaggy blonde hair and crystal blue eyes that could make a girl melt. He was attractive. But not as attractive as Adrian. Good morning, Luna. It's a lovely day, isn't it? He said, trying to start a conversation. Good morning, Stephen. Yes, it is a lovely day. Are you enjoying yourself today? I said, answering already knowing his name. He chuckled a bit at my attempt to converse back. Yes. I have been. But now since you showed up it has gotten even better. He said with a smirk. Was he flirting with me? Oh God. He is. Does he know what Adrian would do to him if he was here? How do I leave this conversation without being rude? I let out a small chuckle, but before I could say anything someone cleared their throat and Stephen looked pale. Adrian. Hello, Alpha Adrian. He said, sounding so scared. Hello, Stephen. I see you are having a fun little conversation with your Luna. He said surprisingly but also suspiciously calm. Wrapping his arms around my waist. It got quiet and I noticed Adrian glaring at Stephen, not saying a word. I guess they were talking through Mind Link. Then Stephen looked at me and said. Have a nice day, Luna. I have to go catch up with my friends. And he ran out like his life depended on it. Before I could even get to ask Adrian what he said, he kissed me intensely. Our lips moved in sync, then he started kissing down my neck and showing affection on the spot where my mark was supposed to be. He showed affection on that spot, having me weak at the knees. Then stopped and looked at me saying, "Can I mark you?" I looked at him, and he had strong desire in his eyes. I nodded in response, with him continuing to show affection down my neck. He nips first and I respond with pleasure. He sinks his canines into my skin and I let out a small sound as I was hit with a huge wave of pain that soon turned to pleasure. He pulls out, then licks the bite to stop the bleeding. He then kissed my mark and said, "I didn't really want to mark you this way. But my wolf took over when I got jealous from seeing you having a fun conversation with Steven." He said honestly, with a pout. He looked so darn cute. I then stood on my tippy toes because he was a little taller than me and kissed his pout. "It's okay. I understand your jealousy got the best of you. But now I'm connected to you in more ways than one and I've never felt closer to you." He smiled, then kissed my forehead and pulled into a tight hug. "I love you," he said. "I love you too. Christina, it's been a week since Adrian marked me and just like they said, I feel like I need him. Like need him." I blushed at the thought of needing him that way. Just then Zakia walked in, then stopped to sniff the air. "I can smell you from here. You're in heat," she said, giving me an amused stare while wiggling her eyebrows. "Ever since the ceremony, I've grown very attached to everyone. Monica and Alpha John are like my second parents. The twins are my best friends. And Zakia is like my sister." "What do?" I asked. "Don't go outside. Because I'm pretty sure, if I can smell you, then so can the other non-mated wolves," she reassured me. "Where is Adrian?" I asked eagerly. I may sound clingy, but don't blame me. The twins said he should be coming back from hunting in a little while, she said after a long pause. She probably mind-linked them for an answer. "Can you hand me my book and glasses?" I asked, trying to keep my mind off of the passionate thoughts going through my head. She gave them to me and walked out, not before saying, "Be safe," with the wiggle of her eyebrows. I let out a small laugh and put on my glasses and started to read. Adrian, I was heading behind a tree to put my shorts on after we just finished hunting. When I say we, I mean my first and second in command, Warren and Brandon. We were walking in the house with them holding 2 deer we had caught until both of them dropped the deer and sniffed the air, with me doing the same. "What is that wonderful smell?" Brandon said with desire in his eyes. "It smells like vanilla and cinnamon," Warren said with the same look in his eyes. I nodded in agreement. But once I realized what they were smelling, I bolted upstairs. "Christina," I decided, "take a cool shower." Because I was feeling hot. Once I was done, I wrapped a white towel around me and walked out to see Adrian. He had sweat all over him. His shorts a little pulled down, showing his V-line. I positively watched as a stream of sweat came down from his neck and down his abs. He walked over to me, with desire-filled eyes roaming my pretty much naked body. His big hands roamed my sides, then he pulled my body close to him and kissed me. It was rough but also passionate and soft at the same time. We took it slow until he requested entrance, which I gladly gave him. I responded as his tongue moved into my mouth, sliding against mine. I made a sound of contentment in the back of my throat and he growled in satisfaction, tightening his grip around me. He picked me up bridal style and carried me to the bed, taking my towel off. I felt exposed in front of him and covered myself. He growled and moved my hands away, saying, "Don't hide your beautiful body away from me." Then he passionately kissed me, showing affection all down my chest. I felt a little irritated that I was naked and he was only half. So I pulled off his shorts and threw it across the room. I looked down, and he was large. He spread my legs and positioned himself at my entrance while spreading my legs wider. "Are you sure?" He looked at me with concern. "Yes. I want you. As soon as those words left my mouth, desire filled his eyes, and he got ready. This will be the only time I hurt you. Understand, he said, then slipping himself in slowly. The tip of his hard member entered me. Tears rolled down my face from the sharp pain. He looked down at me with pain in his eyes. Do you want me to stop? He said, breathless, and I shook my head no. He moved into me firmly, causing me to respond and grab on his back and maybe leave a few scratches. He then started movement and picked up the pace and went faster with long strokes moving into me. The pain was quickly replaced with pleasure. It felt wonderful. I made a sound wrapping my legs around his waist to get him deeper. Faster, Adrian, I said, breathless. Pretty sure the whole pack heard me, but right now I didn't care. He growled from my reaction and picked up the pace, moving faster. He then went to the crook of my neck where my mark was and bit down, sending me a wave of pleasure, and I called out his name. He moved into me one last time before we both had intense release, and he fell on top of me. Both of us breathing heavily and sweating. He slid next to me and kissed my lips softly and wrapping his arms around my waist. I rested my head on his naked chest, and we fell asleep in each other's arms. All yesterday the twins and Zakia were going on and on about how they didn't get any sleep because of you know what, and it was humiliating. Flashback. So, she said, trailing off. So, I said, raising an eyebrow at her. How was it? My cheeks suddenly heated up. I don't know what you're talking about. Why did I have to stutter? Don't play dumb. You know what I mean, she said, wiggling her eyebrows. Yeah, Ashley screamed eagerly. Tell us, Al, I finished. Do you guys always finish each other's sentences? I asked. Hopefully, changing the subject. No, they said in unison. No. Stop trying to change the subject. Tell us. How it was, Zakia said, getting a little irritated. I don't let up that easily. Nope, not today. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. Now here's the embarrassing part. Oh, so you don't remember saying something like. Ally paused and cleared her throat. Oh, Adrian, she tried mocking me. My face really was red now. But that didn't stop them. And. Faster, Adrian. Faster, Ashley continued. Okay, yes, we had physical intimacy and it was wonderful. I trailed off. I'm pretty sure my face was red as a bag of Doritos. Oh, we know. I'm pretty sure the whole house knows. Zakia said, giving me an amused look along with the twins wiggling their eyebrows laughing. Flashback over. That was all yesterday and it was horrible. I slightly laughed while yawning as I just had woken up. Suddenly, I felt the need to throw up. I ran to the bathroom and started throwing up my guts. Then Adrian walked in. Chrissy, are you alright? He asked. I looked up at him, wiping my mouth with tears running down my face. His eyes widened when he realized what was happening. Then he engulfed me in a huge hug, still on the floor. I'm going to be a father, he said excitedly while kissing my head. You aren't mad? I asked, tears running down my cheeks. He cupped my face with his hands and wiped away the stray tear with his thumb. Why would I be mad? And why are you crying? His eyes went from excited to sad and filled with worry. Because I thought you wouldn't want a child. And you probably would leave me once I get big, and I said, sniffling through my tears, but was then cut off by him. Stop, he said, using his alpha tone. I slightly whimpered in his arms. His face softened and he sighed. I didn't mean to yell. I'm sorry. I just hate when you downgrade yourself like that. You are beautiful, just the way you are. And as I said before, even if you were larger, which you aren't and never will be, there will just be more of you to love. I lightly smiled with Aviana purring. And who said I wouldn't want a child? I love kids and have waited so long for my own. He then stood up and stuck his hand out to help me up. Come on, let's go tell everyone. Adrian, I had mind-linked everyone that there was a pack meeting, and me and Chrissy walked in hand. I could tell she was nervous by the way she was gripping my hand. It will be all right. I mind-linked her. She suddenly relaxed. But I could tell she was still a little nervous. We walked in and everyone turned their attention to us. I called this meeting to discuss two important things. 1. There are rogues going around, so stay alert and contact me if you're in trouble. I paused, then smirked. 2. Me and your lovely Luna will be expecting a bundle of joy and a new member to the pack. They all stood and cheered. Then my father came and patted me on the back, saying, "Good job, son." While mother engulfed Chrissy in a big hug then ran away screaming I'm a grandma. I told her to go upstairs, and I would meet her up there so I could discuss some things with Warren and Brandon about the rogues when someone cleared their throat. Her. So you got that person pregnant? She scoffed. She doesn't even know the first thing about being a Luna. I suddenly became enraged and grabbed her by her throat against the wall. You will not speak about her that way. I saw her turning blue, so I dropped her. She looked up at me panting, and said I will be Luna. And this isn't over. Get out of my sight, Briella, and don't go anywhere near Christina or I will have you banished. She rolled her eyes and left saying whatever. Christina. 5 months later. Me. Zakia and the twins were in the living room watching a movie when I felt a puddle around my feet. Did you just pee? Zakia asked, looking down at floor then up at me. Then I felt a huge pain in my stomach. Ah. No, I think the baby wants out. What? The twins screamed in unison. Don't just sit there, call or mind link someone, they whimpered at my tone. Sorry. It. Just. Really. Hurts. Please do something, they nodded, still looking a bit shaken up. Then the door burst open and Adrian fell in, and looked at me with wide eyes and rushed to my side as they placed me on the floor with a pillow under my head. Did you contact Dr. Philip? Zakia nodded. What are you gonna name it? She asked. Sebastian. If. A. Boy. And AHH. I said in short breaths as another contraction came. And Lola for a girl. God, where is she? Adrian said, looking around for the doctor. I screamed again. And then softly chuckled when Adrian screamed, no. Not yet, stay inside your mother till she gets here. Sorry, I'm late. Now, I'm gonna need you to push. Okay, Chrissy, I nodded as she lifted up my dress. I was currently wearing. Adrian hold her hand. And Chrissy on 3, okay, I nodded again, grabbing his hand, hopefully I'm not gonna break it in the process. Okay. 1. 2. Push, I screamed in pain and gripped on Adrian's hand for dear life. I hate you. You did this to me, I screamed and pushed again. I know, baby. I know, now push one more time, he or she is almost here. He said, rubbing my back for support. I pushed one more time until I heard the faint sounds of my baby. It's a boy, doctor. Philip screamed, wiping him off and putting him in a small blue blanket. Can I hold him? I said out of breath, reaching for my baby. He was so adorable. He had my black hair. Peach fuzz, of course, and Adrian's blue eyes. He did a little yawn and I awed at him. Adrian smiled down at us, saying, welcome to the world, little one. Christina. A week later. I was in our room feeding Bassie. Yup. That's the nickname the twins gave him. My baby is not some type of fish. I fixed myself. Burped him and put him in his crib, then linked Zakia and the twins. Could you guys watch Sebastian for a while? Of course we love him, the twins screamed in my head. Once they came in, I told them I was just going out to clear my head. They looked at me curiously, but nodded anyway. I went to the mirror room Adrian had built for me. As I stood looking in the mirror, I still ask, why? Why don't I feel as beautiful as he says I am? Not feeling yourself today, a high-pitched voice said. I gasped and clutched my hand to my chest. I turned to see a girl. She had long blonde hair. Way too much makeup for my liking and a dress that was way too tight. Pack person was the first thing that popped in my head. But I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. She could be harmless for all I know, right? He's not all he's cracked up to be, you know. She said, snapping me out of my thoughts. Huh? I asked, unsure of what she meant. She propped herself off the door frame and walked towards me with a smirk. Adrian. He doesn't love you. He's only with you because of that baby. He loves me. We had physical intimacy just the other day. Here, look for yourself. She tossed me a phone. Tears welled up in my eyes when I saw what I saw. It was Adrian and her engaging in physical contact. When I looked up to say something, she was gone. I just sat there crying, looking at the screen. When I finally regained my composure, Adrian came in looking worried. I mentally scoffed. Like he actually cares. Baby, what's wrong? He asked, trying to hug me, but I pushed him away. He stumbled a bit. Don't you baby me. You have no right to say that to me after you didn't even wait for me and shared intimacy with some pack person. His eyes widened in shock at what I just said. I was in shock also at my newfound confidence. And I liked it. Chrissy. Let me explain. I cut him off. No. You had enough time to explain. I would have been alright with you telling me this before Sebastian was born. But no, I had to hear it from the woman you've been sharing intimacy with. I screamed. Tears running down my face. I shook my head and spoke in a whisper. I thought you said that was the last time you'd ever hurt me. Just let me explain. He tried again with tears now in his eyes. But I cut him off again. Get out, Adrian, I said, flinging the phone across the room, cracking a mirror. He looked at me one last time, and slowly walked out. Adrian. I ran out of the house and slammed the door behind me. Before shifting into my Wolf Thomas, I knocked down a tree in anger. I just kept running. I didn't care where. I told you to wait for our mate and you didn't listen. Now she and Aviana hate us. Thomas spat at me. I stopped dead in my tracks when I heard my mate howl in pain. Mate in trouble, Thomas growled. Adrian, come quick, we're under attack, Warren said through MindLink. Rogues, Brandon screamed. I ran as fast as I could and heard a baby cry. Sebastian. I saw a huge crowd of wolves fighting outside the pack house, some from my pack, some unknown. I just ran straight through them and dashed upstairs. What shocked me the most was what I saw. I saw Zakia and the twins passed out in the corner in human form. And two rogues in front of one white wolf standing in front of the crib, protecting the pup inside, screaming. Christina. She snarled at them and one jumped at her, pinning her to the ground, and the other came after me once he noticed I was there. I jumped at him and grabbed him by his neck with my fangs and ripped his throat out and flung him across the room. Then saw Christina fighting the other one off. She was on top, nipping at him and growling until he bit her leg. She whimpered in pain and fell to the floor. That set Thomas off. He hurt mate, kill him. I lunged at him as he was towering over her when she changed to human form from the pain. We were wrestling for quite a while until I did the same to him as I did his accomplice. I then changed into human form, not caring that I was completely uncovered, and walked over to Christina and cradled her in my arms. She weakly kept pushing on my chest, trying to push me away. Tears down her cheeks, saying, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I didn't let go. I just held her tighter. She finally stopped and hugged me back, sobbing into my chest. Brielle, yes. She hates him, and now her pathetic self will leave, and go back to the dirty little hole she crawled out of. I know what you're thinking. Didn't Adrian say he was gonna banish me if I did anything to her? But Adrian loves me. I know he does. Even though he hasn't ever said it or responds to when I say it, but he's probably thinking it. I smile at my thoughts as I walk into his territory. The guards already know me because I've been here before, if you know what I mean. I walk into his office and see him just looking at some documents. Then he notices me and smiles evilly. Did the plan work? He asked. Yeah, she totally hates him. And I'm just waiting for him to come crawling back to me, I said with a smirk on my face. How did you even do it? Because all I did was send a few my warriors to attack them, he asked with his eyes furrowed. A while back when me and Adrian were together, I wanted to record an intimate moment because I thought it would be exciting. He didn't want to, but I persuaded him otherwise. So I just showed it to her, I said, shrugging my shoulders. It's only a matter of time before she leaves him. Then she's mine for the taking. And I will be the rightful Luna and have Adrian and the entire pack all to myself. Then we just burst out in evil laughter. Ha 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 ha. Christina. It's been a week since the attack and the big blowout that happened afterwards. Flashback. I quickly regained my composure and pushed him off. Got up and limped over to Sebastian's crib. I smiled weakly. He had fallen back to sleep after all the trouble cooled down. I then limped over to where my 3 hurt best friends were in the corner. I checked their pulses. They were all still breathing. They began to stir and all woke up one by one. Soon as they were all up, I embraced them in a big hug. I thought I lost you guys, I said, sniffling. We're all good, Ashley said, stretching away. Just a little banged up, but fine nonetheless. Ally continued. How's Bassie? Zakia asked. I held my urge to roll my eyes at the nickname they gave my son. He's fine. He was just a little scared at the moment, but he's sleeping now, I reassured her. I was about to say something else until I heard an annoying high-pitched voice screaming. Adrian, baby. I'm here, I'll take you back. Her. Oh. Absolutely not. I looked around to see that Adrian wasn't in here. Probably for the best because I'm really about to lose control right now. Grab Bassie. And come with me. She could have been working with the people who attacked us and could have reinforcements. They nodded and grabbed the baby stuff and Sebastian. I ran downstairs and saw Briella trying to push past guards but was failing miserably. I clenched my fists as my heart rate started to increase and my fangs were coming out. Enough, I said with so much power and venom in my voice. And all the commotion seemed to freeze. She pushed through them and stood in front of them. Now, me and her were facing each other. Adrian randomly showed up and stood next to Zakia and the twins. As soon as our eyes connected, he turned pale. Good. Be scared. Adrian, baby. I'm here to take you back. You know I love you, she screamed as if we were all not right in front of her. I don't want you. And never did. You were always just temporary intimacy. Never even that good, he said, trailing off. Adrian, I spoke innocently. Yeah, baby, didn't I tell him not call me that? Shut up. I got this, I said in a harsh tone. And he soon got silent and sat down. Briella scoffed. You really think you can beat me? I don't think. I know. I snarled at her. She then shifted into her wolf. It was small and unattractive. I fell on the floor and had tears in my eyes from laughter. I stood and wiped the tear away with my index finger, sighing one last time. Okay. Okay, enough playing around, I said, putting my hands up in surrender even though I wasn't. I then shifted into Aviana, who was way bigger than her little pipsqueak self. This is gonna be fun, Aviana said with a big wolfy grin. Adrian and I sat and watched as they began to walk around each other even though Chrissy was way bigger than Briella. Brandon then nudged my side and said, Aren't you gonna stop this? She said, It's fine, I said, shrugging my shoulders. You know you're so dead once this is over, right? Warren said, joining in. I soon turned white when I saw Chrissy give me a menacing stare, and then mind-linked me. You know this is not over. Expect the couch as your new best friend. The whole time I'm beating her up, I'm imagining she is you. So hopefully I don't personally injure you. My heart rate began to speed up. And I looked at my two friends and they were laughing. I'll take that as a yes, Warren said, patting my shoulder, walking away, saying, I'll pray for you, Christina. She then lunged for me and I quickly moved to the side. She crashed her head into a wall and shook it off. I stifled a small snicker and then bit into her side as she jumped at me again. She yelped in pain as I threw her across the room. She tried to stand but limped a little. I really should just eliminate her, but I'm not that type of person. And I won't do that while my baby is in the room. Bad parenting. I then turned to Zakia and mind-linked her. Get me some shorts. A bra and a sheet. She furrowed her eyes when I said, sheet, but obeyed anyway, handing Sebastian to Ally and dashing upstairs. She came back quick fast and tossed me the items I requested. I grabbed the things in my mouth. Went into the kitchen and shifted back, putting the clothes on and walked out with the sheet in my hand. Shift. Now. I yelled at her, she whimpered and obeyed. I threw the sheet on top of her before she did and cringed at the thought of seeing her uncovered. She stood, wrapping the sheet around her small self. Goodness. What did he even see in her? I will tell you one time. And one time only. Leave this pack and never come back. I hereby banish you. I see you anywhere near this territory, Adrian. Or especially near my baby, I won't hesitate to take action. She just stood there with a blank expression. Do I make myself clear? She flinched and nodded hesitantly. Now be gone with you. She didn't have to be told twice as she ran out the door. But before she left, she said something I couldn't hear. Christina, talk. I said, crossing my arms and legs. I know I should really be yelling at him right now. But I said I'll give him 5 minutes to explain. Only 5. He let out a big sigh. Okay. So this is how it all started. I was waiting for my mate, but then along the way, I began to lose hope and soon went into depression. Then the pressure of the whole pack started to get to me. They kept asking, when are you going to get a mate? How are you going to run this pack without a queen? I stopped him there. Hold on, slow down. I get what you're saying, but you're rambling. Take a breath and continue. He took another big breath, then continued. Then that's when she came and she was interested in casual intimacy, but I just used her as an outlet to release stress. But she assumed I wanted more and started to boss people around and order them to buy her things. And that's where I drew the line. She was just a money-hungry gold digger who only wanted to control everything and everyone. I gave a blank stare. So what you're telling me is you shared intimacy with her because you couldn't wait just a little bit longer for me? You gotta do better than that if you want me to forgive you. Because honestly right now, I don't even want to look at you. You will be allowed to see your son, but you've got a lot of effort to put in. Before he said anything else, I immediately went into investigator mode and cut him off. Wait, how many times have you shared intimacy with her? Was she the only one you were intimate with, or were there more? Tell me the truth, and you better not lie. You better not lie. I only shared intimacy with her like once or twice, and then she wanted to make that dreadful intimate recording, which I clearly didn't want, but she insisted. And yes, she was the only one, but that was a long time ago, and I should have told you as soon as I found out you were my mate. But you were all stressed out about your current situation, and I guess I just forgot. Why don't I still believe him? Just then I heard Sebastian's faint cry upstairs. Whatever, Adrian. Bassie just woke up from his nap. And I have to feed him. Good day to you, sir, I said, heading upstairs. But he tried, but I cut him off again. I said good day, sir, Adrian. I sat on the couch with my head in my hands. Just then I heard the door burst open. Debbie's home, screamed my big sister, who was away on pack business. What's up, baby bro? How's life? She asked, plopping down on the couch next to me. Terrible. I screwed up, sis. I sighed. How? Tell. Doctor. Debbie all about it. She's stretching her legs over mine and laying across the couch. About a half an hour later. I told her everything. She just looked at me wide-eyed and sat up. Wow. Well, I don't want to say I told you so because you're young and foolish. But I did tell you not to mess around with that person, Briella, because you would mess up your relationship with your future mate. So she took a big breath and stood up. But I don't care because I'm older, and I can do whatever I want. I'm going to find Mom and Dad. You better fix your relationship before you lose her. Then she ran away screaming. I told you, Swo, Mom. Dad, I'm home. I gotta fix this. Debbie and the girls convinced me to give Adrian a second chance. Tonight he said he is going to take me on a special date that for sure is gonna make me forgive him. I was this close to giving in yesterday. Because all week he's been doing everything, I barely had to lift a finger. He made my bed and breakfast. He would change and feed Sebastian in the middle of the night before I even got up. And I also let him back in the bedroom. Yes. He sleeps in the bed. Right now I'm curling my hair while sitting in my robe in front of the mirror. I don't know what to wear. Wear a black dress. Thomas tells me Adrian likes black. Aviana said. How did he know I couldn't find anything to wear? You forgot. Our mate can tap into our thoughts, Aviana questioned. Damn. I forgot to block him out. I've been blocking him out of my thoughts because after the big blowout he was getting on my nerves. Don't get me wrong, I love him. But hearing, you know I love you, right, and I'm sorry, Kitten over and over gets a little nerve-wracking. His new nickname for me is Kitten. I honestly think it's adorable. But don't let him know that. I walked to the walk-in closet and grabbed a short mid-high black dress and put on some black pumps to match. I grabbed my little black handbag and walked downstairs to see Zakia and the girls awaiting down there. You look hot, they all said in unison. Thank you. But what are you guys doing? You all look so suspicious, I said with a raise of my eyebrow while crossing my arms. They all looked at each other then nodded. Then Ashley handed me an envelope. What's this? I asked. Open it and see, Ally screamed. I opened it to see a small note. It read, Dear Kitten. I know I've done you wrong in the past. So I'm trying to make it right. To find the next clue, go to the room where we conceived our son on that beautiful night. Love. Adrian. I smiled then looked up at my eager friends. What did it say? They screamed all together. It says go to the bedroom for the next clue. I took off my pumps and ran upstairs, using my wolf speed. I don't know how I missed it while I was up here already, but the note was right there in the middle of the bed when I got there. I rushed over there and opened it to see another note. It read, Dear Kitten. Ah. I see you found number 2. Now go to the place where you found out our love was true. Love. Adrian. Our love was true. Does he mean when I found out I was his mate? Then I thought back. He took a deep breath. Sid. And spoke again. Then my mate rejected me and said I lied about being his mate and married someone else and made me watch. Then I had to apologize for lying to him and his father. Adrian growled and wrapped his arms around my waist and rested his head on my shoulder. Aviana suddenly perked up. And I whispered, Mate. Yes. Yes, I'm your mate, he said, hugging me tighter. I suddenly snapped my fingers and said, The office, then took off running. I had managed to make it to his office in no time. All the lights were off with just his reading lamp shining over another letter, but this time it had a rose on top of it. I picked up the rose in adoration and smelled it, then put it on the desk and opened up the note. It read, Dear Kitten. I know my past hasn't been easy for you to accept. I love you, and for you to receive your answers, go to the place where we first met. Love. Adrian. I ran back downstairs to see the girls watching TV. All their attention snapped towards me once they noticed me picking up my pumps. I was holding them. Of course. Because I wasn't running in them. Well. I'm off. Wish me luck, I said, running out the door, before they rushed me with questions. I was at the start of the forest when I saw the trees had little arrows leading me to the way I was supposed to go, saying little cute quotes. I read them as I followed the directions. My shoes were back on and I was walking as I read the arrows. The arrows read, just follow them. Getting closer. Almost there, kitten. I see this kitten is getting warmer. Whoa. You're on fire, but just a little further, you'll be scorched. Look forward and you'll see what these led you to. I looked forward to see a long trail of rose petals, and lights leading into a shape of a heart that said, I'm sorry. Then out from the shadows Adrian appeared in a tux and with a bouquet of roses matching the ones on the floor. He walked up to me, handed me the roses with a small kiss on the lips, and started to speak. I know I've made mistakes in the past. And I know I should have told you. And I am truly sorry for that. I promise there will never be any secrets in this relationship. Honestly. That was the only big secret I have besides that I used to sing. Don't tell anyone about that. He said, with a serious face. Stopping my giggles. Anyway. I know even though we are mated and that means we'll be together forever. But I want to make it traditional and unforgettable. He paused and knelt down on one knee, pulling out a small purple box. Purple is my favorite color. Tears welled up in my eyes and I held one hand up to my mouth in shock to what he was doing. Christina Evelyn Rosewood. Would you do the honor of becoming my wife? Adrian. Earlier. I am so glad Debbie and the girls convinced her to give me a second chance. I hope this works. But I remember the girls' specific words to me before I begged them to help me. I was on my knees begging them to help me as Christina went to check upstairs with Sebastian while the rest were relaxing and enjoying their lunch. I don't know, bro. I honestly think you need to be held accountable for the way you treated her. Debbie said. Please you guys, I'm on my knees begging. I'm trying to make it right. I started whimpering. A lot. Okay. Okay. We'll help, just stop, Ashley said. With the whimpering, Ally continued as the both covered their ears. I asked. Really? They nodded. I got up and embraced them all in a big hug. But Zakia pushed me back and they all looked at her. They all stopped talking for a minute. I guess they were all talking through Mind Link. Zakia, Mind Link, what's wrong with you, Ashley? I gave her a straight face, then raised one eyebrow at her. Y'all don't remember all that she just went through. Ally divided by Ashley responded, we know we were all there, but he's trying to change though. Debbie spoke, guys. I think Zakia has a point. We are going to help him, but let's scare him a bit. Debbie had a mysterious evil smirk on her face, and we all looked at her confused as she looked between Adrian then back to us. Meaning? We all said at the same time. Debbie replied, meaning? We show him if he uses that on anyone else besides Chrissy. Let's just say little Sebastian will be the only kid he has. Ready? We all caught the evil smirk she had once before and turned to Adrian. I wondered why they were all looking at me like that. They all got up and walked creepily toward me. I backed up until I hit a wall. Damn. I'm cornered. I started sweating. What are you guys doing? I thought you said you'll help me. I was so terrified. It was Debbie. If you could see the way she is looking at me, you'd be scared too. She knows I hate that creepy face she's doing. She used to scare me when we were kids. Debbie, stop. You know I hate that. I'll stop. Once you promise to make things right with Chrissy. Meaning? No inappropriate videos. No casual partners. No cheating. No nothing. She said this in a serious tone. Or we will personally make sure you won't engage in inappropriate behavior. Allie and Ashley said this at the same time. I swear on the moon goddess herself. That's why I'm trying to make it right, but you have to get her to say yes, I said, raising my right hand. They said they would ask and make sure she says yes. I thanked them one last time and left to get ready. First, I had to get some help. I told Warren and Brandon the situation and they agreed to help me. Okay. Brandon, go get me a bunch of roses and go wait for me at the beginning of the forest and I'll meet you there. He nodded, then left using his wolf speed. Now, me and you are gonna put cards and stuff all over the house and make it sort of a scavenger hunt. But I'll do all the cards and stuff. You can go get the ring. It's a small silver ring in the shape of a rose covered in diamonds. My mom had it made for when I got married, but tell her use a purple box, not red. He also nodded and left, but not before he kept mumbling, purple not red. Purple not red. A little later, after I set up all the cards and made all the arrows, I put on my tux. I grabbed all the arrows that had cute little saying on them and met up with them at the beginning of the forest. Warren handed me the rings and I put up the arrows as I told them where and how to set up the roses. Once everything was set up, I thanked them, and they said good luck and left. I sat waiting for a while until I caught a scent of my mate. Meaning she was almost here. I saw her slowly reading the arrows as she kept walking. And she looked absolutely stunning. She turned and saw the decorations and stood there in awe. I got up. Dusted myself off. But I'm so nervous, what if she still doesn't forgive me? Thomas started whimpering. I'm honestly sweating bullets. I walked up to her and handed her the bouquet of roses, then gave her a quick kiss and started to speak. I know I've made mistakes in the past. And I know I should have told you. And I am truly sorry for that. I promise there will never be any secrets in this relationship. Honestly. That was the only big secret I have, besides that I used to sing. Don't tell anyone about that. I said with a serious face, stopping her adorable giggles. Anyway. I know, even though we are mated and that means we'll be together forever. But I want to make it traditional and unforgettable. I paused and knelt down on one knee, pulling out the small purple box. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she held one hand up to her mouth in shock to what I was doing. I paused, then finally built the confidence to say, Christina Evelyn Rosewood. Would you do the honor of becoming my wife? Christina, I could see the sweat and nervousness pouring out of him as I choked on the hard lump in my throat for my answer. Yes. I stammered out with a sigh of relief as I got it out. Yes, he asked. I cleared my throat. Yes. I said I would marry you. Before I could say anything else, I was engulfed in a big hug. I pushed him away. A frown appeared on his face. But I thought, I cut him off, holding my hand, meaning for him to stop talking. He listened. Yes. I said I will marry you. But there are some complications and things that need to stop before this is taken any further, I said. Name it. Anything. I just want you back in my life. He said, pleading. 1. I never actually left. I just took a break from you. I'm not dumb, Adrian. I know sometimes when you leave your mate you die from withdrawal, and plus I love you too much to leave you, even though you're stupid and irritate me sometimes. I said, rolling my eyes at the last part. He grew a huge smile. I straight-faced him. Don't get too happy. I'm not finished. His smile disappeared. First. No more of this stupid casual relationship business, or I will personally intervene. He turned pale. But nodded. I see you nodding, but don't think you heard me clearly. I mean it. Meaning, no cheating. No inappropriate content. No casual encounters. None of that. And plus I will feel all of that anyway, since you claim this happened before we were together. I said, making air quotes with my fingers. Yes. I understand clearly. None of that stuff. I love you and don't want to lose you or Sebastian. And the girls already called dibs on consequences. He shuddered at the thought. He placed the beautiful rose diamond-covered ring on my finger, then engulfed me in another big hug. This time I hugged him back. Wait. Where is Sebastian? I murmured into the hug. He's with my mother. She absolutely adores him. Christina. Let's go see him. He gave me a strange look. Oh. Come on. Since when is the last time Sebastian has been in the story? And plus, I want to see my baby. He's getting so big. I want him to say, Mama first. Since wolves grow fast. Alright. And plus I do miss him, but he will say, Dada first. Not, Mama. He said proudly. Want to put your money where your mouth is? I said with a smirk, challenging him. I think I might. Ms. Rosewood. He said smugly. Then I place 20, that he says, Mama first. Are you in or are you chicken? He stopped to think it out while I walked around him like a chicken and started clucking. You're on. Race you. He jumped and shifted in midair and took off. Cheater. Monica es so adorable. I remember when Adrian was this small. I cooed, pinching Sebastian's chubby cheeks. He blushed and giggled. Yeah, but Adrian was a little terror. Come on. Walk to Grandpa. John chanted as Sebastian tried to stand. He grabbed the sheet on the couch to push himself off. He stood there. Then looked around. Then back to John. Come on, come on. He took one step forward, then fell backwards. I giggled to myself. Then Adrian and Christina burst through the door, sweaty and fixing their clothes. I heard that old man. Then he jumped on him, and they started wrestling playfully on the floor. While Christina picked up Sebastian. Christina, how's mommy's little chubby bunny? I cooed, blowing raspberries on his tummy. Then Ray came downstairs. Ray was one of our strongest fighters, but he was never happy. He once was, but that was before his mate Sandy died. He waved and walked into the kitchen without a word. I whimpered. Baby, what's wrong? Adrian said, getting up from the floor. I feel so bad for him. He never smiles. He has nothing to smile for. He lost his everything. And here I am laughing my butt off. I said. Correcting myself. Duh, Sebastian tried to say, but got stuck. We all got quiet. Except for Adrian, who was acting very hyper. Come on, say, Dada, he cheered Sebastian on. Da. Dama. Mama. Then he reached around my neck and snuggled into my chest. We all burst into laughter while Adrian sat with a straight face. That's messed up. He said, crossing his arms and pouting like a little kid. That's adorable. Said a voice across the room. We all turned to see Ray shaking his head, chuckling. He stopped and looked us with a confused face. What? We all, still staring at him wide-eyed, and all in unison answered him saying, nothing. Then he happily walked upstairs. What's up with him? Zakia, I was skipping down the stairs when I tripped on that last step. I closed my eyes and braced for impact, but it never came. I looked up to see Ray like 2 inches away from my face, holding me by my waist. Then I suddenly got tingles up my side. Mate, my wolf uni screamed. Then out of nowhere he kissed my lips. Then, leaving me breathless, he walked out the kitchen saying, watch your step, my little unicorn. I realized. I'm home. Briella, I was sitting in his plush office thinking. Plotting. And watching him pace back and forth. He stopped in mid-walk and slammed both his fists on the desk. I thought you said this would work, he yelled, aggravated. I thought so too, but obviously he must have done something to make her forgive him, but that won't stop me. I'm Briella and I always get what I want. I said with a mischievous smirk on my face. Whatever, if this plan doesn't work out, we're doing things my way. Got it, he said. With me nodding in agreement. Sebastian. I said, getting straight to the point. Sebastian, he said, furrowing his eyebrows in confusion. Sebastian. I said, nodding reassuringly. What is a Sebastian? And what does it have to do with the plan? He asked, a little irritated because he didn't understand. Sebastian is that child that they had. Maybe. Just maybe. If I could just get close enough, I could steal the baby and we could use him for ransom. I said, and he nodded. But didn't you come here all tattered? Beat up and covered in blood, saying, she said, if you ever come back to that territory or near her husband, and especially near her baby, she would personally kill you herself, he reminded me. I shivered at the thought of her voice in the back of my head. That's the thing. You remember your friend Jackson, who's a warlock? He can cast a spell on me and change my appearance. I can act like a runaway rogue from an abused home so they can take me in. I can gain their trust. Become close enough with Christina to let her let me be near the baby. Maybe try to attract Adrian a bit. And then go in for the kill. I was smiling broadly right now. I'll call up Jackson. And get right on it. Don't mess this up. Bree. He said, walking out to make a phone call. You just wait, Christina. You're in for a rude awakening. Christina, I was sitting on the floor playing with Sebastian, while Adrian was attending some pack business, and Zakaya came in all happy like. That's the second person I've seen overly happy. Am I missing something? Oh my gosh. Guess what I just found, she said. I don't know. Too much coffee, I asked. She gave me a flat stare. I stifled a laugh. Sorry. Continue. I said, waving my hands, signaling her to continue. Guess who's got 2 thumbs and just found her mate, this girl, she said, dancing and pointing to herself. Sebastian started bouncing up and down, laughing and clapping his little hands. Really, who is it? How did you meet? I asked, trying to get all the details. I was just skipping down the stairs. I cut her off by saying, didn't I tell you about that? I asked, raising my eyebrow and crossing my arms. I couldn't help but giggle at Sebastian's little body, who happened to crawl next to me. He was trying to mock my movements. Just imagine an adorable baby trying to make his eyebrow rise while crossing his little arms. I know, adorable. Right. Hold up. I have to catch this. Make that face again so he can copy you, she said, pulling out her phone to take a picture. Once she took the picture, she put her phone away and continued. Anyway, I was skipping down the stairs, and I tripped on that last step. I thought I was gonna fall hard. But then I didn't. I looked up to see Ray like 2 inches away from my face. He just kissed me, and then left out with a smirk on his face, saying, "Watch your step, my little unicorn," she said. I knew something was up. I've never seen him this happy, I said, putting some of Sebastian's toys to the side. All right. I'm going to find him. Bye, Bassie, she said, giving a little wave, and he tried to do the same back. Adrian mind-linked me, just seen the pics Akia just sent me. Definitely a Kodak moment. I smiled and replied, saying, definitely. Briella. My hair went from blonde to brown. Eyes from blue to hazel, and I had him add a little more curve to my figure. I had ripped up and torn clothes on. Made sure my hair and everything else was dirty. And I might have bruised myself up a bit to make it look believable. All in all, I looked nothing like before. I ran in my wolf form to their territory. My wolf Ella's form was also changed. Instead of dark brown dull fur, it was light brown hazel to match my eyes. I was close to the borderline when 4 wolves surrounded me. 2 big ones and 2 regular-sized ones. The big black one I already knew was Adrian, and I had realized the huge white one was the one who banished me once before Christina. Adrian and I had went behind the tree to change while Zakaya and Ray kept watch. I put on a sports bra and basketball shorts while Adrian just had on shorts, and we walked back out. State your reason for crossing my territory, rogue. He said in a stern voice. He had said before we left that if a rogue would try to take me and Sebastian away from him, he didn't know what he'd do. He had already been on high alert since there were reports of rogue spies lurking the area. I ran away from my pack because they were cruel and abusive, she said. My heart melted a little bit. She had reminded me of myself, but then I was reminded of all the bad memories. But I couldn't let up. As my job as Luna, I have to protect my pack. This could be a trick. I shook all the bad thoughts out. Why should I believe you? He questioned, raising his eyebrow and crossing his arms. I swear Sebastian is gonna pick up doing that from us. Please don't hurt me. I was just passing through. She looked like was tired from all the running she did and looked like she was gonna cry because she was scared of Adrian's menacing stare. All right. From what I can see, she poses no threat, I said as I walked over to her and hugged her shoulders. Briella, all right. From what I can see, she poses no threat. I mentally scoffed. That's what you think. She came over and hugged me. I wasn't really paying attention. I was too busy staring at how attractive Adrian looked. But my lustful stare was cut off by some person with rainbow braids, who I'm guessing was one of the other wolves who cleared her throat. Do you really think we can trust her? Chrissy, she glared at me. I guess she saw me watching Adrian. I glared right back but slightly looked away to seem like I innocently didn't know what she was talking about. What are you implying? Christina asked. Nothing. It's just you trust people too easily. Rainbow Head had said. Do not. Do too. Do not. Do too. Adrian and the other guy were slightly chuckling. Enough. I'm tired, and she seems harmless. We will give her a place to sleep and discuss everything in the morning. Adrian spoke. Zakia, that girl acted like I didn't see her, staring at Adrian like he was a piece of meat. Then she had the nerve to stare at me like I did something wrong. If Chrissy wasn't so trusting, I would have intervened. I can't shake the feeling that I know her from somewhere. All I know is that she better not come between me and Chrissy's friendship and me and my mate's relationship. I slightly growled as I saw her keep trying to get next to Adrian. I don't trust her. Ray asked through Mind Link. Baby, what's wrong? I said with annoyance. I don't trust that girl. Did you see the way she was looking at Adrian? Christina was too caught up in adoration for the girl to even notice. Ray replied, I saw that too, but I thought I was tripping. We gotta watch her, she might try something to break them up or take down the pack. I suggested, or worse, she might try to ruin me and Chrissy's friendship. He gave me a flat look. I asked. What? He replied back, I understand you and Chrissy have a strong bond as friendship and clearly sister-like. But do you really think a friendship is worth a whole pack of people dying? I said, sounding a little worried. Okay. Maybe my interpretation of how she would ruin the pack was out of jealousy, but I also care for the sake of the pack. What will they do if their Luna is influenced by the wrong people or worse, taken? We finally made it to the pack house. Christiana, Adrian and the girl walked upstairs, I guess to show her a room, while me and Ray walked into the kitchen. He walked over to the fridge to grab a water. All I'm saying is I don't trust her, and don't want me or anyone else getting hurt, so we have to keep an eye on her. He placed the water bottle on the table and walked over to me and pulled me into his strong embrace. Mine. No one will even get close enough to hurt you. I will kill them. Christina Adrian said her story checks out okay. For now. And her name was Ella. I think. She has her own room a couple doors down from ours. But I kind of have a feeling that I know her from somewhere. I don't know what came over me, or should I say Aviana, yesterday. Yesterday, me and Adrian were in the living room. I was snuggled up close to him watching a movie and he was typing up something on his laptop, but also in the cover, but wearing glasses I never knew he had. And might I add, he looked quite attractive. Then Ella came in and didn't even say hi to me and squeezed herself on the couch next to Adrian. He gave her a puzzled look, then looked at me. I shrugged, and he went back to his computer. So whatcha doing? Anything I can help with? I wondered where I had heard that high-pitched voice from. No. But thank you anyway, he said, giving her a glance. Pushing up his glasses, then turning back to his computer. She's too close to our mate. Aviana sneered at her. Are you sure? 'Cause, if you need anything all you have to do is call. I was really getting annoyed and slightly growled. He said no. Ella. Please leave. I tried to say as nicely as possible. She slightly huffed and made a fake pout. Got up and left. Adrian closed his laptop and took off his glasses, rubbing his face. What was that all about? He said, turning towards me and putting his glasses on the coffee table along with his laptop. I slightly shrugged. She was interrupting our quietness and she was too close to my mate. I guess I got a little jealous. He had a slight smirk on his face. But did you see I was not paying her any mind? I love you and only you. I lost you once and I will never lose you again. But am I the only one that has the feeling that we know her from somewhere? See. I knew I wasn't the only one. Zakiya said there might be something off about her, but I still think I was kind of rude for doing that. I think I should apologize to her. He shrugged. Whatever you choose to do is your choice. But I feel that she ticked you off because she was too close to what is yours, so she deserved a little yell to set her straight. I would have done the same if it was the other way around. I'm still going to apologize. Present time, I haven't seen her really around since then, but when I do I will apologize. I am currently in the kitchen trying to get Sebastian fed. He's become a real hassle lately. I walked over to the wooden high chair he was sitting in and handed him his bowl of pudding. He looked at it, then slapped it on the floor and started crying. I looked at him like he was crazy. Oh no, none of that, sir, I said, popping his little hand. His eyes got teary and his bottom lip started quivering as tears ran down his cheeks. Adrian, your son is misbehaving. I mind-linked him. What's going on? He asked, looking between me and Sebastian. He won't eat. And then just threw the food on the floor. I said, running my hand through my hair. Adrian looked at him and he started crying again. Adrian is scary when he wants to be. None of that mess with me, boy. He picked up the bowl that thankfully it all didn't spill on the floor. He put it on the table in front of him. Sebastian made a pout. Looked at him, then back at the food, and started eating it. Oh, I see how it is. You better listen to Mama or I will come back and address that little butt of yours. Understand? Sebastian understood and nodded. Adrian went back to whatever he was doing and I looked at Sebastian. What am I going to do with you? He just giggled as he stuffed his face. I smiled and slightly shook my head. I sit impatiently in my office chair, tapping my foot. What is taking her so long? She better not be engaging in casual behavior. I told her she could focus on that when I got what was rightfully mine. UGH, I screamed, aggravated, throwing my desk across the room and it shattered into pieces. I walked down to the holding chambers where I plan to keep my pet until she is trained not to leave me. In there I had this serum that Jackson whipped up for me that makes people fall completely under my spell. One small amount knocks them out and the second puts them under my control. A mindless slave. They will obey and only serve me. I opened the case and smirked at the small needle. I see I have to take matters into my own hands. Zakiya Ray and I were cuddling and watching a movie in my room. I turned and looked at him and he was already staring at me. What? I asked insecurely. How many pups would you like to have? Because I've been thinking. I blushed shyly. I don't know, like 1 or 2. He kissed me intensely. Hey guys, have you seen? Whoa, never mind. My bad, Adrian said, barging in then walking right back out. I hid my face in Ray's chest due to embarrassment. He just chuckled. I playfully hit his chest. That was so embarrassing, he just kept laughing, and then kissed my forehead. Christina, I was in the living room with the twins and Sebastian. They absolutely adored him. I'd say more like spoiled him. He was using his stubby little legs, running away, giggling and laughing as Ashley and Ally chased him, acting like they were monsters. Mama, he ran to me with wide arms and I scoop him up and play along. Grr. We're gonna get you, the twins said. He laughed and snuggled into my neck. It's okay. Mama will get the monsters for chasing my baby. I kissed his forehead and turned to the twins and sent them a wink. They winked back. Bad monsters. How dare you chase my baby? Shame on you. I give them each a little playful hit on the arm. Ah. Don't hurt us, Ashley said as she dramatically fell on the floor. We only want to play. We come in peace. Allie said, throwing up the peace sign, also falling. I put Sebastian down and he walked over the twins who were playing dead on the floor. Get up, he said, nudging Ally. He looked at me with furrowed eyebrows. Mama. Why they no get up, he said, confused. They are afraid you don't want to play with them. Say you'll play with them and maybe they'll wake up. I said. He kept tapping on Ashley. Okay. I play with you. Then turned to Ally, get up. They fake groaned and slowly opened their eyes. His face lit up like a Christmas tree. Tickle monsters, they said, tickling him while he laughed and giggled uncontrollably. Guys, can you watch him while I go take a shower? I asked. They waved, signaling me that it was okay. I walked up to the bedroom and the windows were open. Weird. I looked out the window. Didn't see anything and closed it back. I reached up and tried to close the curtains but felt a small pinch in my side and my vision got blurry. Ow. I slurred and suddenly felt tired and weightless. I didn't feel the hard impact of the floor, so I think someone caught me. It's okay, pet. I have you now and you're mine forever. The blurry figure said, and then the darkness took over. Adrian. Earlier, where is Christina? I can't mind link her because her connection seems to be cut off somehow, or she's blocking me. Maybe the twins know because I don't want to walk in on Zakia and Ray again. I walked downstairs to see Ashley rocking Sebastian back and forth, putting him to sleep while Ally was making a bottle. I didn't want to bother Ashley, so I went to Ally, who was punching the time in the microwave. Have you guys seen Christina anywhere? I asked as she started the microwave. The last time I seen her was when she said she was going up to take shower, but that was a while ago. Check there. She said as the microwave beeped, meaning it was finished. I ran upstairs to find the closet doors open and the window open. I sniffed around, then growled. Someone was here and they took her. Zakia. After the movie, Ray went to shower and I went for a walk around the pack house. I walked past Ella's room and I heard her on the phone. Me not trusting anything about her. I listened, leaning on the door. What do you mean you took her already? When did you even come here? I was supposed to get time with Adrian first. Ugh. Fine, I'm on my way. I knew she was up to no good. She opened her door, surprised to see me there. Oh. Hi Zakia. I was just I cut her off. Was going somewhere. Look, I know you're up to something, and you will go nowhere. Who are you and who is missing? I asked, pushing her back into her room. Oh, don't you recognize me? I'm pretty sure if I try to influence Ray for about, I don't, maybe 30 or 40 minutes and he'll leave you right after. You'll remember me. She did a nasty cackle mixed with a snort. It all makes sense now. The nasty cackle. The ways she was trying to play innocent. Briella. Bri igual a ella. How could I have been so blind? How could we all be so blind? The only difference is she has brown hair and a more curved figure now. I growled at her. You will go nowhere near my mate. Now I will ask you one more time, who is missing? Briella. Oh. Now you finally notice me. All I had to do is pull that nonsense Christina played, and you all were putty in my hands. She started laughing and then started fake crying. I ran away from my pack 'cause they cruel and abusive. Ha! Don't make me laugh. And how did you not notice your own best friend is missing? Chrissy is missing. Christina, I opened my eyes to realize I'm in some type of cell room chained up to a wall. Where the heck am I? I tried to contact Adrian, but my mind link seems to be cut off somehow. Hello, is anybody there? I guess no one can hear me. So I see you're awake. Miss me, I look up to see the last person I thought I'd see. You. Did you expect to ever see me again? Ryan said. How could you? I growled. I realized how stupid I was. I never gave you a chance. And look how you turned out now, beautiful. He said, sliding his hand across my cheek, but I turned my head. You didn't want me. You lost your chance. I have a wonderful family that doesn't involve you. I said, pulling at the chains. I will give you some time to come to your senses and realize you love me. If you don't, I'll just drug you and you'll just be my mindless servant, who will love me and do whatever I say. So the choice is yours. He said, while carelessly shrugging. But I don't love you. I said. Yes, yes you can. And you will. He roared, making me flinch. I'm sorry I didn't mean to scream at you. He whispered as he stroked my face. He leaned closer and closer, but I turned my head so he kissed my cheek. Christina. He said. I love you. He said. No, you don't love me. You think you do, but you don't. I said. I said I love you, he yelled. Okay. I said, scared to say anything else. Are you hungry? Love. Now that you mention it, I am kind of. I was going to get something to eat once I got out the shower, but you know what happened, so. Yes. I whispered. Then say you love me back. He said with a devilish smirk on his face. I can't. I won't. I don't love him. Just say it, he yelled in my face. I love you. I whispered. Louder, he said as he raised his hand and slapped me. My cheek started to sting and tears welled up in my eyes. Just say it and I won't do it again. He said. Are you freaking serious? I love you, I yelled at him. Good. He said with a smirk. Can I get food now? I asked. I'll think about it. He said, walking out. I started crying. Not because I didn't get any food. Okay, maybe a little. But because I feel like Adrian won't be able to find me. I miss my little chubby Sebastian. I miss everyone. Don't cry, baby girl. I heard a raspy voice. Daddy. I looked over at my once powerful and strong father, looking almost reduced to nothing, chained up, sitting on the floor. He started crying himself. Chrissy, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for how I treated you. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel unloved. I cut him off. It's okay, Dad, I forgive you. He looked up. Really, he asked. I nodded. What happened while I was gone? No offense, but you look terrible. I said. I honestly don't know myself. After Leslie told me you were gone, I just lost it. I went over to Ryan's house. Gave him a piece of my mind, then left. After long, I soon went into depression. Drinking. Sleeping in and barely doing any of my pack duties. And I guess Ryan took that as an easy target to overthrow my pack along with his own. He killed Alpha Blake not long before he came after me. He said, wow. That's a lot to take in. Whatever happened to Veronica O'Her? She's still around here somewhere, pregnant. Doing everything and anything he says. Following him like a lost puppy, letting him abuse her as he pleases. He said, shaking his head. Well, I have a son. And a wonderful mate who loves me and hopefully will come to save me. I said, and his face lit up. I'm a grandpa, what's his name? He asked. Sebastian. But my friends call him Bassie. I said with a smile, and he chuckled. Bassie, he said, still laughing. I know, right? I joined in laughing myself. Dad, I asked, pulling myself together. Yay, he answered. Will we ever get out of here? I don't know, baby girl. I don't know. Adrian Warren. Brandon, get all the warriors and trackers ready now, Christina's missing. I mind-linked them. Adrian, come to Ella's room quick. Zakia mind-linked me. I ran there to see Ella on the floor panting and Zakia above her with Ray dashing down the hall in sweats, only looking like he just jumped out the shower, also joining me in the room. What's going on in here? Me and him said in union. Why don't you tell then, Briella? Zakia, what? That's not Briella. That is Ella. Adrian said, looking at me with his eyebrows furrowed. Really, Adrian? Really, look at her. No, like literally look dead at her. Imagine no ample chest and brown hair. I said, trying to help him see as he walked towards her. Stand. He says in a stern tone, making her jump to her feet. Haven't you noticed ever since she got here and everything's different and your fiancé is missing? I said as he started to questionably stare at her. When he realized. He growled. Then soon as I mentioned Chrissy was missing, his head snapped over to me like a deer in headlights. How did you know Chrissy was missing? He asked. Briella tried to step aside and I guess make a run for it, but he yanked her back to his side. That's the information I've been trying to get out of her. I said in a duh tone. In an instant, Adrian had her up by her neck against the wall. It looks like his wolf had come out too. Thomas is one force that shouldn't be messed with. Where is our mate? He asked. I don't understand how he expects to get an answer from her when she looks like she's about to pop. Thomas, let her breathe first, then maybe you can get an answer out of her. I said, scared, while Ray was right behind me for protection. He stared at me for a second, then looked back at her and then dropped her to the ground. She grabbed at her throat, gasping for air. Speak. I will tell you where she is. You know how when she first came and she had said something about how she got rejected before she came here, she spoke. Her voice barely coming out. We all nodded, meaning for her to continue. That's who I am working with. His name is Ryan Scott. He took over his own and Christina's pack once he killed his father. He had this blue potion made up that so it makes you totally under his spell once he injects you with the second dose, and I already think he used the first part on her since you can't find her. She finished. Just then Warren had busted in. Everyone is waiting downstairs. Adrian nodded, then turned back to Briella. You will lead us to where they are. But if you refuse, I have no problem wringing you by your neck and ending your life now, so it's your choice. He said. I will help you. Christina, I was awoken by the lights being turned on and the loud slam of a door. Rise and shine, everyone. Oh, I see you met Daddy dearest. Isn't this a wonderful family reunion? I gave him a blank stare. Oh, don't look so glum, dear. This will all be over once you agree to marry me, so we can have lots and lots of powerful pups together. So I won't have to go to plan B, which is drug and force you. He said, holding my face to look at him with a fake apologetic smile on his face. I will never agree to marry you. I hate you. Just leave and let me and everyone else go. I said, snatching my head from his grasp. He sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. I didn't think it had to come to this. But I have a surprise for you. You see, before I had the opportunity to test the serum on you, I had to test it on someone else to make sure it was safe. Oh, Leslie, could you come here for a second? He said, screaming out the door into the hallway. My eyes widened. Leslie, what does she have to do with any of this? Is she safe? Please tell me he hasn't done anything to her. Just then, a small, skinny, fragile-looking girl walked in with a dead look in her eyes. My eyes welled up in tears. I knew it was her. But I could tell how her eyes changed from brown to blue that she was injected with the serum. You monster, I screamed out of rage and sadness all together. He just chuckled evilly. I've heard it all before, sweetie. Now, let's begin with this, shall we, he said, taking out the syringe needle with the rest of the blue liquid in it. Don't come near me with that stuff. Psycho, I screamed at him. He just kept laughing. Then he stuck me and I was out like a light. Ryan, my plan worked. She's finally mine and no one else's. Wake up. She looked up from her once brown eyes to now blue ones. Who do you serve? Love. Who is your master? I asked. You and only you, master. Then she looked towards her unconscious father, accompanied by Leslie, who decided to rest as well. I barely feed them, so they mostly just pass out every once in a while. Who's that master? She asked, furrowing her eyebrows. No one, just servants. Never mind that. Would you like to be let down? Why? Before she could answer, the doorbell rang. Probably Briella. One moment. I'll be right back. She nodded, and I kissed her forehead. Adrian Briella led us to Ryan's hideout. Once we arrived, I could already smell Christina's scent. Our plan was for all of us to sneak into the house, free the others, and find Chrissy while she was upstairs distracting Ryan and mind-link each other if there was trouble. Once we were in, everyone searched the place while I followed Christina's scent to a basement-type chamber. There I see Christina chained up to a wall, and two others in a cell, either passed or knocked out. Christina, baby, I'm here to rescue you. I approached her, but she scrunched up her face at me. Where did that come from? Who are you? You are not my master. I only know and love my master. I am not your baby. She spat at me with so much disgust in her voice. And for the first time Thomas whimpered. I looked into her eyes and they were blue, not the beautiful big brown ones I know and love. Chrissy. Baby, you gotta remember me, it's Adrian, your fiancé. Do you remember Sebastian, our son? You remember him, right? She scrunched up her face in pain like she was trying to fight it, then she shook her head. I don't know what you're talking about. I only know my master. I looked to my right and seen a pair of keys hanging on the wall and grabbed them and unchained her. She stood up, rubbing her wrists. Chrissy, I was cut off, by who I'm guessing is Ryan. Well, what do we have here? You must be Adrian, nice to meet you, I'm Ryan. Come here, pet. She looked at me one more time, then walked over to him. He kissed her forehead. I growled. He touched our mate. Kill him, Thomas said. I charged at him, and he was already doing the same. Christina, I was just standing there watching Master and that guy who claimed he was my fiancé, fighting and tussling on the floor, throwing punches left and right. Then 3 people came downstairs. 1. A girl who had braids with rainbow streaks in them, and the others 2 guys. One with a flat top and the other with a sort of blonde afro. Chrissy, you're safe. The girl ran and hugged me while the guys watched closely at the fight. I guess to see if the guy would need help. I didn't hug back. Who are you? I asked. She looked sad. Then looked in my eyes. Why does everyone keep doing that, Zakia? Your best friend, you gotta remember me, right? I shook my head and then she sighed. She turned to the one with the flat top. Warren, go free those 2 over there. Brandon, go help him. She walked over to where the keys were. I turned back to Master and Adrian, who had somehow brought a gun into the equation. They were now tussling, while both of them holding on to the gun. Then gun flew into my direction and I picked it up and aimed at the 2. They stopped and Master had a smirk on his face. Come on, pet, shoot him. End his life for trying to hurt your master. I aimed it to Adrian, who had a worried expression on his face. Everything seemed to freeze. I don't know why, but I feel like I don't want to shoot him, but I have to obey my master. Adrian reached in his pocket and pulled out a wallet and tossed it to me. Look. Remember our son. Remember how happy we were and how we still can be. Come on, Chrissy, you have to remember. he pleaded as I picked up and opened the wallet. There was a picture. It was him and a baby and me. Come on, Christina, remember, he said. Suddenly, my head started hurting, and I dropped the wallet and used the free hand to hold my head. Come on, Chrissy, fight it, the girl Zakia screamed. It all hit me at once. I remember why I was here now. My excuse for an ex-mate kidnapped me. I'll just play along like I still don't remember. I'm sorry you have to die. I have to obey my master, I said. Adrian looked sad, thinking I still didn't remember, while Ryan smirked and started laughing. In one swift movement I shot Ryan straight in the forehead and he fell where he stood. I dropped the gun and ran to Adrian with wide arms and tackled him in a hug. I missed you so much. So much. I'm sorry I took so long, he said. Was he crying? It's okay, I knew you'd come. Christina, day of wedding. You look so beautiful, Chrissy, Zakia said. I smiled and squeezed her hand. It was good to have her here with me right now because I feel like I'm about to faint. I'm so nervous. Come on, do a twirl for me. I want this to stay in my memory forever, she pleaded. I got up and twirled around. Then walked over to hug her. Thanks for always being there for me. I breathed into her shoulder. What are best friends for? She playfully asked. Then there was a knock at the door. Knock, knock. Are you ladies almost ready? Leslie asked, peeking her head through the door. Yay. I'll be out in a minute. I let out a sigh. Nervous? Zakia asked. Yay. Really nervous. I looked down at my shaky hands. Zakia came over and put her hand on my shoulders. Once you get out there and see Adrian outside in that tux, it'll all be worth it. I nodded, getting up as she helped me walk out with my long train veil while I gathered up my dress. Outside the doors stood my father, nursed back to health in a black tux, waiting to walk me down the aisle. Hi, Daddy, I said, hugging him. You look so beautiful. Just like your mother. She would be so proud, he said, wiping a stray tear that ran down my cheek. Don't cry, baby girl. She's up there watching us right now. She's always with us in spirit and here with you now on your big day, he said, looking up to the sky. Then looped my arm in his. Third person, behind those doors awaited Adrian, who was also nervous and anxious to see his soon-to-be wife. Nervous, bro? Warren nudged his shoulder. Adrian nodded, rubbing his sweaty palms together. I'm going to be in this same position as you one day when I propose to Amaya. Don't worry, buddy. It's all worth it in the end, Warren said, encouraging Adrian, while nodding to his newly found mate Amaya. While rescuing Christina weeks before, Warren had found Amaya in one of the holding cells along with the others, and they have been inseparable ever since. All rise. Everyone stood as Alpha John spoke. He offered to be the pastor. The doors opened with Katie as the little flower girl in a pink flowery dress dropping daisies, and Sebastian at her side in the same matching tux as Adrian as the ring bearer. The crowd awed at the two. After they had passed, the crowd, and everyone else, turned their attention as the bride-to-be walked down the aisle accompanied by her father. They all watched in amazement as she walked in her beautiful gown. Christina wore a cream-colored wedding gown designed by the most international designers. Adrian only wanted the best for her. She said otherwise, but as soon as she saw the dress she fell in love with it. The beading and design in the bodice, where the diamonds were embedded. The skirt of the gown fit her hips snugly, then flared out into a skirt with a very long veil. The train was very big, but she loved it, and managed not to fall. As she reached the stand, she kissed her father on the cheek as she walked away and joined hands with Adrian, and he lifted up her veil over her head. We are gathered here to bind the marriage between Christina Rosewood and Adrian Darkmoon in holy matrimony, Alpha John began. May we have the rings? Alpha John asked, and everyone watched as little Sebastian walked over and tried not to fall, holding up the pillow with the rings. Then everyone gasped as he tripped and fell, expecting him to cry. He just grabbed the rings and put the setup back together and walked to his father, who bent down and patted him on the shoulder while taking the rings. "Good job, buddy," Adrian cooed as he ruffled his hair and shooed him back to his seat. He placed the ring on her finger as she did the same with him. "Do you?" Adrian promised to be a loving friend and mate in marriage. To talk and to listen. To trust and appreciate. To respect and cherish Christina's uniqueness. "Do you promise to support, comfort, and strengthen her through life's joys and sorrows? Do you promise to share hopes and dreams as you build your lives together? And to grow with Christina in mind? Will you strive to build a home that is compassionate to all, full of respect and honor, filled with peace, happiness, and love? Do you promise to always be open and honest with Christina, and cherish her for as long as you both shall live?" he asked Adrian. Adrian, take you, Christina, to be my wife. I promise to always be your biggest fan and your partner in crime. I promise to create and support a family with you, in a household filled with laughter, patience, understanding, and love. I vow not just to grow old together, but to grow together. I will love you faithfully through the difficult and the easy, what may come. I will always be there. Each one believing that love never dies. As I have given you my hand to hold, so I give you my life to keep," he said, smiling adoringly at his soon-to-be wife. Alpha John then turned to Christina and asked the same. Christina, take you, Adrian, to be the husband of my days, the companion of my house, the friend of my life. We shall bear together whatever trouble and sorrow life may lay upon us, and we shall share together whatever good and joyful things life may bring us. With these words, and all the words of my heart, I marry you and bind my life to yours," she said, sending the same adoring smile, while letting a stray tear fall from her eye. "By the power vested in me and by the bond of the moon goddess, I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride," John said, nodding at the two. Adrian leaned over and cupped the face of his wife, sharing a long and passionate kiss. The two pulled away and Christina spoke. "I love you," she said breathlessly. "I love you more. Forever and always." Alpha John, I watched as Adrian and Christina, my new daughter-in-law, they finished dancing across the dance floor and made their way towards our table. At our table sat me, Monica, Alpha Trent, Warren, Brandon, Zakia, Ray and Debbie. "I see you two were getting a little intimate on that dance floor," Debbie said teasingly, wiggling her eyebrows up and down. Christina blushed a crimson red and hid herself into Adrian's arm. "I guess you could say that they can't wait for their honeymoon," Brandon said, wiggling his eyebrows also and nudging both Debbie and Warren. "All I'm saying is, if the bed goes squeaking, don't go peeking," he said, playfully wagging his pointer finger as if he was scolding us. Chrissy looked up in surprise, blushing even harder, and smacked him on his chest and said, "Why would you say that? Do you want me to lie to them?" he asked, raising his eyebrow and cocking his head to the side. She opened her mouth to say something, but before she could say something he put his mouth to hers, kissing her into submission. Then stopped, leaving them both breathless. He said, "You were saying bye, guys," she said with him nodding in agreement, and he pulled his lustful and stammering wife out of the ballroom. "I can already tell they won't be leaving that room until there's another Sebastian running around," Monica said, jiggling. "Christina, Mom, Sebastian won't leave me alone so I can go on a date with Jason," my 17-year-old daughter Zoe said. Before I could even interrupt, I was cut off by my now 18-year-old son Sebastian. No mom, don't side with her. That guy is terrible, I exclaimed. And I popped his hand with the spatula for talking like that. But I knew he only wanted the best for his little sister. Then I heard the sound of footsteps I knew all too well come downstairs. Why are my children stressing out their pregnant mother? Adrian said, kissing my cheek and wrapping his arms around me. Dad. Zoe is mad because I said that she wasn't allowed to go on a date with Jason. Sebastian explained. And who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? You are not the boss of me. Dad. She exclaimed, and then the two started to argue again. What are we going to do with them? Adrian asked, running his hand through his hair. You know he only wants the best for her. Why did they have to get your attitude? I asked playfully. The bickering had stopped and we turned our attention towards the two. You know what? You know what? Fine. I won't go out with him. Gosh. I'll just go shopping with the twins. She said, throwing her hands up in defeat. Sebastian always seemed to perk up at the mention of the twins. It's like they're mates. Maybe. And right on cue. The twins walked through, still looking beautiful as ever in all their 33-year-old glory. Bassie. Zozo, the twins, exclaimed with open arms. As both Zoe and Sebastian ran to greet them, I couldn't help but burst out in laughter along with Adrian as Sebastian pushed Zoe out of the way like no one noticed. They are going to be mates. I can feel it. I mind-linked Adrian, smiling adoringly at him, and he nodded. He stopped right in front of them and sniffed the air around him, and so did Ashley and Allie. And all at once they said, mate. And looked at each other. Zakia. I was in the living room watching my 2-year-old baby girl Journey play while I was bouncing my leg up and down in anticipation and nervousness, waiting for Ray to arrive home. I heard the jiggle of keys and the creak of a door as my mate entered the home. Baby. I'm home, he said, walking into the living room, picking up Journey, to give her a kiss, and put her back down. I nervously got up and gave him a hug and kiss. But like always he read me like a book. What's wrong? He asked, looking concerned. I have to tell you something. I breathed out. Okay. He said, not really understanding, but listening anyway. I'm pregnant. Again. I said, looking down. Not sure of what he would say. He growled. And lifted my head and made me stare into his eyes. Why is your head down? 'Cause I thought he cut me off. No. You thought wrong. This is wonderful. I wonder if it's a boy so I can teach him to be strong like me, or another baby girl. I just stared at him, shocked but pleased, as he rambled on, picking up Journey and walking into the kitchen. I plopped down on the couch and rubbed over my small baby bump and said, well, today has been an odd but good day. I hope the rest of our lives are just as crazy. I said, chuckling to myself. I needed a kid. Now. He looked up at me with a look of admiration, as if he knew exactly what I was thinking. I love you. This will be us soon. Love. Don't worry. He mind-linked and I could have cried. I love you too. I paced around frantically. Catherine. It takes a minute. Adrian laughed. I know, I just. Ugh. I want this so bad. I mumbled. Looking at the ground. Hey. Come here. I walked over to him, and he pulled me onto his lap as he sat on the edge of our bed. No matter what it says. It will happen. Things just take time, and quite frankly, whenever the goddess deems us ready, we'll be ready. So, don't overthink it. Love. I smiled at him, resting my forehead against his. I love you. He grinned at me. I love you too. Baby girl. The sound of my phone's timer went off and I scrambled off Adrian's lap as he chuckled. I took a deep breath and walked into the bathroom, and grabbed the small stick off the counter. What does it say? I don't know. I don't want to look. I stared at myself in the mirror with nervousness. I have taken 3 pregnancy tests over the span of a few weeks and I feel like I'm being insane. Each time they had come back negative. This was a big step in our lives. Bringing a kid into this world, it was terrifying, but I wanted it so bad. I wanted my own family. I learned that over this year. Family is everything, and I spent my whole life running from the thought of commitment, and here I am. Holding a pregnancy test. I was proud that I grew out of my old thoughtlessness habits and into a mature state of mind. Adrian's arms came around my waist as he placed a kiss on my neck. Babe. Just look. I could hear the smile in his voice. I quickly looked down, and my heart stopped. It's positive. It is. Oh. My goddess. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. I spun in his arms, wrapping mine around his neck, with a beaming smile. He laughed, picking me up and spun me around in a tight hug as the room filled with our laughter. I can't believe it. I breathed out. I know. He looked down at the test, as if it just hit him. I'm really going to be a father. You already are. I joked and he smiled, shaking his head. I mean, my own flesh and blood. Wow. I wonder what Ivy will think. Oh. She'll be over the moon if she can grasp the concept of having a little brother or sister. This is really happening. Months. We've been waiting for months. Adrian. And the time has finally come. We'll have to start brainstorming some names. Yeah. But we have time, so right now. Let's just take the time to celebrate this. How so? Dinner maybe? Oh. We can go to. He cut me off by abruptly picking me up, causing me to let out a screech. I was thinking, reliving the moments that made this moment possible. He teased, carrying me towards our bed, and I snorted. You're incurable. Oh. I know. And I don't feel bad about that one bit. He sat me on our bed, pulling his t-shirt over his head. And I'm sure you don't either. He winked. Oh. I definitely do not. Seer. After a long night. Adrian thought it would be a good idea to go see my doctor the next day, and I agreed. Now we sat in the room as the doctor made sure everything was going right. And right here is the baby. The doctor pointed and I bit my lip as I looked at the screen. It's so tiny, oh my goodness. Give it a few months. You won't be saying that when they start to kick for the first time. The doctor joked, wiping the gel off my stomach, and started to turn the monitor off. So everything looks great. You're only a few weeks along. So I'll make you another appointment to see me again here soon. You have a healthy baby. Congratulations. I'll need to get you on some vitamins to help, but other than that, you're doing great. I looked over at Adrian, who looked to be in thought. I gave his hand a squeeze and he looked up at me, giving me his $1 million smile. Here are your pictures to keep. I took them eagerly, looking them over. When do you think we should start telling people? Adrian asked. Typically, it just depends on you two. Some people wait a month. Some 3. It's up to you too. But if you're wanting a suggestion, I'd give it a month or 2 before you tell the pack. Friends or close family will be fine. Thank you, Dr. Adams. I smiled at her and watched her retreat from the room. You okay? I asked Adrian, and he nodded. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? You just looked and thought through the whole thing. Yeah. I just was thinking about these next few months to come. My wolf side is pacing around right now and I have no idea why. He was immediately in a protective and possessive state when the doctor simply walked into the room. It took me a minute to calm him down. I remember stories about some wolves being really protective over their pups. I just don't need him wolfing out at the wrong person is all. It's a little nerve-wracking. It's just new and something I'll have to get used to. I would feel that's normal. And it is. I was really just thinking with him and me worrying all the time. It would be best if I took some more time off work. Let my beta step in some. If you feel that's necessary, then I'll support it. He leaned over, placing a kiss on the side of my head. I know. Let's get you home. As he helped me up, something popped into my mind. Would you care if I told Steph tonight I just really want to? I think she's more excited about this next step for us than we are. I yoked. Of course. Babe. You don't have to ask permission to tell someone you'd like to tell. I know. I just know sometimes people like to wait a while to make sure no complications happen. I hated the thought. Don't think anything negative. Okay. We'll take it step by step. As of right now, I'd love for Stephanie to know. I just love you. He chuckled. I don't think I'll ever get tired of hearing you say that. I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying it. I beamed. Good. I love you too. Baby girl. Now, let's go home. I sat holding Catherine's hand as she told Stephanie the news. The two were over the moon about it and already talking nursery details. I smiled, thinking about it myself. I couldn't wait for our little one to be running around our home. It was crazy at how far Catherine and I have come. It started out rocky, but I'm glad we pushed through it. We've overcame things together and strived strongly as a couple. She was my mate and there was nothing I would change about it. I don't think she realizes just how lucky I am to have her. I'm just glad she accepted us. And now look at us. We're having a child together. The pack already loved her. There was no doubt about it. They are going to be thrilled when they find out she's expecting. So have either of you thought about names? Stephanie asked, pulling me from my thoughts. Not really. We've just been basking in the moment. Catherine replied, looking over at me. Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about it soon enough. I added. Oh, I've been waiting for this moment since you all started trying, so I have plenty of names ready. She stated, causing me and Catherine to burst out laughing. Goddess. Steph. You're always 10 steps ahead. Catherine mumbled, her cheeks red. I guess she didn't want me knowing. She told her about us trying. I didn't mind. It was cute, she was so excited about it. Lay them on me, I said, and Stephanie grinned, rubbing her hands together eagerly. Okay, so if it's a boy, I was thinking Aiden. So we can keep the A's in the family. But if it's a girl, I was thinking Cameron. I actually like those, I admitted, and Stephanie squealed. Really? What about you? Catherine, I like them too. I'd like to keep A's and K's in the family too. You know me so well. She grinned. Wait, are you saying you're gonna use them? I looked to Catherine, who shrugged. I mean, I like them. She gave me a look of seeking approval, and I nodded in agreement. I agree. Plus, saves us time for looking for names and Catherine disagreeing with me for hours. I joked and she playfully smacked me on the shoulder. That's not true, she grumbled, folding her arms, and I threw my arm around her shoulder, pulling her to me. I'm just messing with you, I teased, placing a kiss on the side of her head. Oh, my goddess. I just love you too. Stephanie spoke with a sappy tone. An idea came into mind as I looked at Stephanie. She meant a lot to our family. She's done so much for me as well, and I don't think I've ever shown her just how important she is to us. What about Cameron? Stephanie Lee for a girl, I suggested, and her eyes widened. Stop it. Don't play with me, Adrian. I chuckled. I'm serious. I freaking love it, Catherine stated with a $1 million smile. Wait, really? Yes. Stephanie. You mean so much to us, and I know you're gonna mean a lot to our child as well. I don't think I've ever showed you how much I appreciate all that you have done for me these past few years. You did through paychecks. She croaked out. Tears in her eyes, and I lost it in laughter again. "Ah, group hug," Catherine stated, and we all leaned in close together in a big bear hug. "I love y'all," Stephanie sobbed, and me and Catherine laughed. "We love you too, Steph." After we left Stephanie's, we headed back to our house and decided to cook some dinner. "That was nice of you. What you did with Steph. I meant every word of it. I mean, think about it. She helped watch my godchild when I had work and never asked questions. She just did it. She took care of Ivy like one of her own, and that means the world to me. Not to mention I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for her. So I think she deserves some credit." I winked. "Putting some garlic bread in the oven. Do you think we'll have a girl or boy?" she asked as she stirred the sauce she was making. "I don't know. But I'm going to love them just the same. I love you, Adrian." She smiled up at me. "I love you too, baby girl. Now, don't burn our sauce," I teased. I. Captain," I laughed, shaking my head, and grabbed some plates to set the table. Daddy Ivy's squeal broke through the air as she ran into the kitchen. "Hey, sweet girl, how was your day with Clark?" I asked, picking her up and placing her on my hip. "It was good. We got ice cream." "Oh, did you?" I looked to Clark standing in the doorway, who was grinning at her. "We did. Then we went to the park." "Oh, how exciting." Catherine piped in and walked over, placing a kiss on her forehead as Ivy giggled. I loved the sight of her being a mother figure to Ivy, and it made me even more excited for our child we will soon have. "Thank you for watching her, Clark." "It's no problem. I'll see you tomorrow." "Are you hungry?" I asked Ivy. Starving," Catherine corrected with a laugh. I think she said it just because she likes hearing Ivy repeat it. "Staving," she repeated just as I expected, and I threw my head back in laughter. "Can you say spaghetti?" Catherine asked with a knowing smirk. I chuckled at the two. Goddess. I love this woman. I sat nervously in the doctor's office by myself. Today was the day I would find out the gender of the baby, and Adrian was late. How could he be late on such an important day? The doctor peeked her head into the room. "Mr. Lee still not here yet?" I sighed, shaking my head, and looked at my phone, seeing no text. "Could we wait just a few more minutes? Please, I'm so sorry." "Don't be. That is perfectly fine." I thanked her as she shut the door. I knew Adrian had a meeting this afternoon, but he promised it wouldn't be long, yet he isn't here. I called his cell, but once again he didn't pick up. 10 minutes passed by, and I was ready to give up. The doctor came back in the room and was looking at my files. "I know Mr. Lee isn't here yet, but we can go ahead and check up on everything, and make sure everything is going well. I'm sure that would be okay with him." Yeah, that's fine. But I don't want to know the gender until he is here with me." "Understandable. Let's get you ready." I laid back and pulled up my shirt. I was just barely starting to show, which my mom claims is normal. Women show at different rates, she had told me. She put some gel on my stomach, and soon as she did the ultrasound, I was looking at my baby on the screen. I stared in awe. It finally didn't look like a little dot anymore. Well, the baby is completely healthy by the looks of it, and everything seems to be fine. The baby has a strong heartbeat too. Listen. I heard the small thuds and my heart jumped in my chest. "Amazing," I mumbled in awe. The door to the room flew open, and in rushed a frantic Adrian. I'm here, I'm sorry, Catherine." The meeting went over longer than expected. Then I had to rush here to only realize I left my phone in my office, and then I needed gas. "Adrian, it's fine. She hasn't told me anything yet." I was quick to reassure him. Oh, thank goddess. He mumbled, walking over to me and placed a kiss on my forehead. He stood next to me and took my hand in his as he looked at the screen. They're so big already. He mumbled. Well, now that you're both together, would you like to know the gender? Yes. Please. I said quickly. I have been waiting for this moment all day. Adrian's grip tightened on mine as she looked at the screen and back to us with a smile. Congratulations. You're having a girl. She grinned and my mouth dropped. Honestly, I was expecting a boy. Looks like the goddess wants to surround me by women all the time. Adrian joked and I beamed up at him with a huge smile. A little girl. I spoke and he leaned down, pecking my lips. Another girl I get to spoil. He added and let out a small laugh. Ivy is going to be thrilled to have a little sister. The doctor gave us some pictures, and then left the room to give us some privacy. 2 girls. This is going to be stressful. Adrian concluded, and I snorted, patting his arm. That it is. That it is. Oh. Goddess. 2 girls, I laughed as it was finally settling in with him. Yeah, imagine all the talks you have to have with them. I teased. Nope. That's all you, babe. Power to the women. You go it. He was quick to say. Imagine their boyfriends they'll have later on. That should be interesting. He growled at my comment. I'm gonna have to buy a gun just to scare them off. Adrian. Sweetie. You're an alpha. You don't need a weapon to scare anyone off. Very true. He smirked. Great. Now I had to look forward to seeing Ivy and Cameron in complete embarrassment by their father. I prayed Adrian wouldn't scare those boys too much. So, would you give the alpha title to Ivy? I asked and Adrian thought about it for a second. I don't know. Well, honestly. Yeah. I think I would. I'd love for my own flesh and blood to take my place. But Ivy is my kid, blood or not. I wouldn't deprive her of that. I get to choose who takes my place, not tradition. She will be the oldest and therefore she will take my place if she wishes. Would people address her by Alpha or Luna? I had no idea how that would work. Whatever she wants to be addressed by, I assume. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's many years away and we have this little one to worry about at the moment. He stated, placing his hand on my stomach, and I smiled down at the sight. I placed my hand on top of his. Soon we'll feel her start to kick. Have you felt any movement from her at all yet? Some. But not much. The doctor says it's normal on the first pregnancy and you typically don't really feel much until around week 25. Just. Wow. This is really happening. We're gonna have our own baby in our arms soon. Adrian spoke with admiration and I loved seeing him talk about it. I love seeing his eyes light up when he mentions our family. We will, and I cannot wait. I admitted. I love you. Adrian. I love you too. Baby girl. Here's to a new content life.